Hello everyone. En ce bon samedi, I hope that you're all doing very good. And today is going to be an Hypertrophy Q&A where I'm going to be answering all of your questions about fitness, bodybuilding, lifting. We're going to do program reviews. I'm not going to introduce any new concept today. I have a bunch of cool ideas for future Hypertrophy Q&As. I want to do physique reviews. Eventually, there's going to be a work camp, quote unquote, where we're going to craft programs together. So you'll get to send your favorite lifts and stuff like that, and I'll make you a custom program, and we'll do it live. So all of that is going to be in the future. Lots of ideas for these Q&As, but I just want to do it right again today because last time, and you can tell me in the chat if you agree or not, the hypertrophy Q&A was not as good as it could have been, simply because it lacked visuals. So for the people who rewatched afterwards, it really wasn't that interesting at all. So what I'm going to try and do today is see if I can share my screen. Hello everyone. Hello Nordgenetics. Hello Sherlock Holmes. How am I doing? Not great, but I didn't want to spend the entire day just like whining and like doing nothing and mopping around. So I'm very grateful for you guys to show up so that I can stream and be useful. That's what makes me feel better, is to know that I can be of use to you guys. The legal battle is not going well at all. I got some pretty bad news yesterday. Of course, it's always on the Friday that you get the bad news and it fucks up your weekend. Are we doing Jung on Sunday? No, because it's too close together, I guess. I understand that you want to get to part 2 as soon as possible, but I want to make sure that I actually take the time to make good streams, and I'm not in the right headspace for this. It takes a certain headspace to just like read off of the book and teach. Thoughts on Kanedo 6 week? I think I reviewed that program at the very start of the channel, so if you're interested, you can go check it out. Workshop, yes. A work camp is different. Yes. No work camp, sorry. We're not at that level of authoritarianism on this channel yet. Whenever, and you can of course start asking questions right away, right? The stream starts right away. I will let you guys know whenever I open the coffee so that I can start taking the program reviews and the questions. What legal battle? Long story short, I got fired from my job for reasons that are purely illegal, and I decided to fight it. But the issue is that I'm fighting a mega corporation, and it's draining all of my energy. Will you continue to talk about Beyond Good and Evil in the future? Yeah, there are actually a few chapters and parts of the book that I never covered because it didn't fit within the program. But yeah, there are certain things that we have yet to discuss, like Nietzsche's discussion on masks and identity, stuff like that we haven't touched. Are you planning on doing another video about addiction, like the one about video games, weed, social media, alcohol? I should make a video about weed eventually, because I know for a fact that there are a lot of lifters and I have a lot of subscribers who smoke weed regularly. And the issue with people who smoke weed is that they tend to like to believe that it's not dangerous or that it's not addictive, not bad for their lives, and I disagree 100%. Matthias Duran, I'm running the Doomslayer push-pull leg program, don't have the GHR machine, and the Roman chair is uncomfortable for GHR. What replacement can I do? You can do just some simple extensions. Yeah, that will do the trick. Jacked and Stoic, who changed his profile picture. You used to have a Greek statue, now you have a cat, so you're evolving. How do I find jeans that fit with above average legs? Either get stretchy jeans, like fit jeans. There's a bunch of influencers that promote them, so you can go check it out. You'll get a reduction code. Or you get them tailored, but it's expensive. And also, if you get them tailored, eventually they stop fitting because you keep getting bigger. So something stretchy is better. Do you squat with lifting shoes? I used to be a big aficionado of Olympic squat shoes, and I now just use like flat soles, and I don't really see a difference, to be honest. The only lift that I still use squat shoes for is high bar squat, but for the rest, just regular shoes. Omar, oh boy, that's a lot of comments at once. That was a glitch. That was a glitch, right? That was weird. Or yeah, or maybe it's like synchronicity and you all posted like at the same time. Well, your top 3 leg movements. Okay, so right now I would tell you split squats is probably at the top of my list of favorite leg movements because the stimulus to fatigue ratio is insane. No Gyanism, if you keep spamming, I'm going to have to time you out. So please, one at a time. Sorry, split squats. If possible, not done with dumbbells. If you can do them with an SSB or with a mean that allows you to really load, because a lot of people don't realize how little they really load their split squats. And I realized that just recently because I went from dumbbells to the SSB and I added 80 pounds on my split squats, which shows that I used to just I used to just really go easy and I didn't even realize it because the balance aspect was in a sense draining my energy, and this is what made them so draining. So that's one. Robert Wood, you still do weighted hyperextensions? Absolutely. I do them now with, so it's 195 pounds. So that's 4 sets of 10. So you can really push it. So second lift that I would say for legs, RDLs, they just like put so much mass on your posterior chain. It's insane. And then to wrap it up nicely, like an elevated squat, and you have like your big 3: split squats, elevated squats, RDLs. You'll get massive legs. How to grow your stubborn chest? You have to find a movement that you connect with. That's it. If you are built a certain way, you're going to do a bunch of movements for chest, and you're going to get everything in your shoulders and everything in your tries. Some people are built like this. I'm built the exact opposite way, where every single movement for triceps, I feel in my shoulders and especially my chest. Like anything I do is chest as long as I push, but you're different, so you have to find it. Shane, who tells us that he doesn't know the difference between a lunge and a split squat. It's the direction the body goes into. So the split squat, the body moves forward and you go up and down. Lunges, the body goes backwards. So a lunge is you take a step forward and then another step forward. And if you step backwards, it's a reverse lunge, which is also different. So the difference is that the lunge is a dynamic motion where you're supposed to move forward. Even if you do them stationary, the entire body still moves forward. And with split squat, your body just goes this. You go up and down, up and down, up and down, which is why I prefer split squats for hypertrophy. Get up and show us the difference. Actually, that's maybe the reason why we're doing these streams, right? I'm going to go back and like do it. La flemme. Today, I'm a little bit lazy, but maybe one day. Hello, everyone. Title related, where do I share my lifting program? For now, don't share anything. You will be able to share it on the coffee page. When I tell you, it's already a link in the description, but don't do it yet. Once I pin the comment and I'll let you know, it will be open for business, quote unquote, and I'll start reviewing programs, but don't send anything yet, please. Can we get another leg training log? Well, every hypertrophy log is going to be legs because I do legs and upper body, and I have 2 logs to record that I'm going to post as soon as I have time. How to increase bench? I'm not a strength channel. I can tell you that just like with anything else, if you just stick to it and you find a variation and you keep up to a frequency, your bench should go up. Is the program review $5 and we just paste the program as text in the message? Yes, I will give you all of the information. Actually, I think I had like a piece of paper somewhere else where I have all of the information, so I can just grab it. For now, I'm just leaving time for people to shop. What's your opinion on torso and limbs split? And not necessarily bad, it's just that there's no such thing. You know, when you train your torso, you're going to train your limbs a little bit because when you train back, you train biceps and forearms. When you train presses for chest, you're going to train your triceps. Having that like big difference oftentimes leads to an imbalance because you're going to naturally tend to put much more emphasis on the torso part. I think that if you have a perfectly 50-50 split, then it's possible. Because the good thing with arm days is that it is possible to do an arm day that doesn't recruit the torso at all. But even then, like, I'm not a big fan of that because you're going to do an arm day that's going to be low fatigue. So why not throw a few compounds in? Which is why I personally prefer an upper lower template that I call the gentleman split. Or if you have an arm day, you'll still do some compounds. How do you get the cup holders you have above your clavicles? The cup, oh, you mean the space? Like this? Here? Well, it's I guess build your traps so that there's actually like you get the triangle here. Build your traps. And the good thing is that for once, people who have short clavicles have an advantage because if your clavicle is short, you have much less real estate to fill. So you get like if I back up, you see that everything is filled. It's like directly connected because I have like very short insertions. How do you deal with chronic bicep tendonitis? So I am blessed that I never had it, even though I train biceps all the time like an asshole. So I can't really give you advice on this. I know that some people have stated that avoiding supinated movements tends to do the trick. So you stay pronated for a short while, and you start to rehab the supinated position bit by bit with a little weight. That can work. A lot of the time, the issue with like bicep tendonitis is that it doesn't even come from bicep movements. It comes from stuff like presses, like dips. It can sometimes come from pulls. Okay, Ganism. I am on inflammation suppression meds, okay? And painkiller, programming team's effect on hypertrophy. Okay, so you are taking a bunch of substances that like directly interfere with the mechanisms that your body put in place. I would tell you to not push it, no one rep maxes, because the issue is that your body is not going to be able to tell you if you're doing something that is potentially dangerous to the tendons and the tissue. Is this for life? Is this a condition for life? Remember, if you watch the stream, to grab some water because these streams tend to be very hypnotic. And if you spend 3 hours sitting on your ass and drinking the water, it's actually very bad for you. Okay, so if it's a condition for life, I would say stick to high rep ranges, put like all of your points in the recovery basket, even if it means training a little bit less, just so that you don't hurt yourself. Are hammer curls necessary? They're not necessary, but I would say that at some point, doing some pronated movement is going to be because you really want to start to hit that like brachioradialis and that portion of the arm so that it gets thick, so that you get that nice little pop here. I'm Miguel. Am I Miguel? Is this my new name? Yo soy Miguel ahora. Can I replace RDL with barbell rows? You can if you want to, but they're not the same movement. Barbell rows is more of like an overall back builder. RDL is much better for posterior chain. Can you still send a program review? Yes, guys. It's the name of the stream. You're going to be able to send your programs. Don't even freak. We're just like taking our time. What is your take on high volume, high intensity training? I mean, it depends on what you mean. Like if for you high volume is a 10 by 10, then in my opinion, it's not possible to do high volume and high intensity by definition, because a 10 by 10 is not high intensity. It's actually sandbagging to the max. But if you say high volume, and for you high volume is like 4 to 6 sets of a muscle group per training session, then yeah, you can go balls to the walls, no problem, especially for back. Have you changed your opinion on barbell rows? Do you do them? I remember you aren't a big fan. No, I don't do them because to me, they're if I go into the gym thinking I want to build my upper back, the barbell row is like low on the list of movements that I would pick, because there are just so many other like vertical or horizontal pull in particular that are just superior because they actually recruit only the upper back. So the upper back becomes the limiting factor. With barbell rows, I've always found that for me, it's a posterior chain movement. Are you good at fighting? No. But the good thing is that when you get big enough, you no longer have to fight because no one fucks with you. Or maybe it's because I'm French and people are afraid of catching the plague if they touch me. That could be also a thing. Can you wield the Dragon Slayer? I don't think so. How can you build your middle back? So it's bodybuilding. We love that lingo of like middle back and this and lower lats, even though it means almost nothing in terms of like biomechanics and in terms of like human anatomy. But if you look at the middle back, what most people talk the middle back is like low traps, mid-low traps, and like rhomboids. How to build this area? I would say do row variations. Like croc rows are very good for that. But at the end of the day, it's also like it's the snake that bites its own tail, where people like will obsess over it. Like, what is the most optimal variation? Upper back isolation, like globally. And usually you can feel like what works that portion. For me, what works it the best is croc rows, where my torso is pretty vertical and I do the row inside my body. So I allow my arm to come inside here, and my arm is that high. I don't keep it low like this. I don't try to target lats. I keep it here, not here because that would break my shoulder, but like here. And just doing it like this, I can feel that portion of my back stretching. That's really good. Do you train your giat? Yes, because if you're a bodybuilder, there's no escaping it. You're going to end up with a massive ass. You should get into acting. I already don't want sponsorships. I don't want to be part of that system. It's just I would get fired immediately because I would say some like crazy shit. First time watching live, welcome. Yes, lives are every single week, guys. You can just check the schedule on the community page, and you can pick and choose which ones you like the best. We do philosophy, we do hypertrophy, we do self-improvement, and we do dating. Bonjour, Chito. How often to train the tibialis anterior? I personally recommend starting with twice a week max, and then you can bump it to 3 times a week. How did you find your deadlift form? By not listening to people. I think it's the same for squats. For so long, I used to squat with like this weird, like pigeon-toed, but like outside frog stance because I heard that, oh, you have to open up the taint. That's how you're supposed to squat. And I couldn't figure out why I kept getting injured. And now I know why. It's because I'm not built to squat like this. I'm built to squat with a very narrow stance with my feet pointed forward. And now that I squat like this and I stop listening to other people on how my form should be like, my legs have gotten bigger, I'm injury free, and I'm much, much stronger. And also, I'm pain free because I used to have shitty knees and now suddenly they're much better, even though I push them forward. Best deadlift for a novice. I'm actually not a big hater of like just a straight up dumbbell deadlift because it'll teach you how to use your legs. I think I did dumbbell deadlifts for like almost 2 years in my bedroom. And I think this is the reason why the first time I deadlifted, I could already do 225, which is not great, but I'm a weakling. So for me, it was great. And that was because I taught myself how to do it. How much momentum is acceptable on dumbbell rows? For me, the type of momentum that I don't like on dumbbell rows is when your torso does this. So any hip shift, any knee bend in particular, where you have to like hoist the weight by like jumping up is bad. The one type of momentum that I quote unquote allow, whatever that means, is when you have to like really pull with your arm and really give it that oomph to be able to get it up. If it means shifting your torso a bit, to me that's okay, because what you really want is you want to squeeze and you want to really like milk another negative. If you stop dumbbell rows the second they start to get dirty, for me you're leaving gains on the table because it's a safe movement. Well, you're considering a subscriber physique review? Yes, it's in the plans. Not today, because I want to redo the program review right, and I want to like check how the share screen system actually works to see like what you guys see when I share my screen, so that I can show you the program, so that you have something to follow. What is up with the stretch? Fitness influencers who need to create content, and the best way to create content is to point out a concept that everyone pretty much agrees is important and to shit on it. It's always the same. Once you've noticed it, the cycle is obvious. Everyone agrees that one thing is important. One super contrarian guy says, oh, actually, it's not that important. And it just like cycles. And of course, there is nuance in this. Saying the stretch is the only thing that matters is not true. And always trying to optimize the stretch is not necessarily the best approach for bodybuilding. But for me, between the stretch, meaning the negative, and the positive, I know which one builds more muscle. And it's stress shit is in the positive. And I have a very simple proof of this. If there are people who truly believe that, then they should set up an experiment where they lift with a contraption or a lifting partner, and every time they go into the negative, the partner or the contraption takes care of it, so they don't have to resist at all, and then they just do the positive again, and then come back and show your gains. And if you have gained a shit ton of muscles, more than someone who trains with the negative as a priority, then you're right. But these people will never find that. Why don't I get into arm wrestling? Because I'm way too much of a bitch. And arm wrestling is way too dangerous. You get like crazy elbow pain. The risk of injury is high. and I'm a baby. I don't want that. It took me so long to have big arms that I don't want to snap something. Would you agree most 90s bench like powerlifters, you mean with an arc? Yeah. That's even when you go to like a commercial gym, everyone benches like this. Can we send 4 programs for review? Not yet. Soon, 10 minutes. How would you train if you can train only Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday? Um, Simple. Upper body, upper lower, Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday full body. To me, that's obvious. Do you not bench with an arc? I don't bench at all. So that's one thing. I've completely replaced benching with ring push-ups and with dips. And I have found, unsurprisingly, that I'm doing much better now. Is there a way to reduce sweating? You can actually get a surgery that prevents your sweat glands from producing sweat, but it's horribly dangerous. Legends say that it's part of the reason why Bruce Lee died. Ring push-ups are good, indeed. They're really underrated. A comment timeout? What is that? I'm going to eventually allow one comment a minute, but for now, rock on. It's a stream. Express yourself. Talk, metal buddies. On a 10-year time frame, how much muscle can I gain? As much as you want. Just keep training, and in 10 years, come back and tell me how much you gain, man. It's stupid to ask questions like this. Thoughts on farmer walks? I really like farmer walks. They're really good. I know that some bodybuilders don't like them. To me, you use them without straps, you're going to train your grips. You use them with straps, you're going to get massive trap development. So what's not to love? Someone asks, favorite Ghibli movie? It's funny, I was thinking about that just this morning. My favorite Ghibli movie is Spirited Away, but the best Ghibli movie is Princess Mononoke. 100%. I'm on my first bulk. Some food recommendation. Do not eat things that make you feel bad or bloated. A bulk should be fun. Like, a lot of people seem to forget that, or they turn the bulk into like some torture. Why are you doing this? Like, this is a period where you can like stuff your face and make gains. Eat the things that you enjoy, as long as it fits your macros. Do you like vegan gains? I don't dislike the guy. I know that he has a certain reputation, but there are certain aspects of his personality that I respect. Have you been to Greece, NH? No, but something tells me that I would fit in. Some people tell me I look Greek. Do you train Nick? I don't have any friends called Nick. What do you think about adjustable dumbbells like Bowflex? Never use them. My adjustable dumbbells are just like straight up. You put plates on it. I think they're good for people who use dumbbells a lot. But if you're the type who just use them once in a while for like curls, like once a week, it's a waste of money. If you get into a fight with GVS, who would win? I think we would both gas out very quickly. Why don't you lock out on the overhead press? Because it's not needed. Because nothing happens when you lock out. It's needed if you're competing to get 3 green lights, but I'm not competing. That's a good thing. If you had any budget for your home gym, what would you add? Nothing. I'm not the type of person who collects equipment. An equipment that I don't use at least once a week, I will be selling. So I have everything that I need down there. My last purchase was a tibialis raise station that I use 3 times a week. Do you still recommend your Zod workout? Yes, it's a good program. Do you like powerlifting or strongman more, and why? Strongman, because to me it's the more complete sport. They have better physiques on average, and it's just so much more fun to watch. Like, I don't follow the circuit, but I watch the Arnold every single year, and I don't watch bodybuilding. Like, I haven't watched the Olympia this year because fuck that. Why would I watch a bunch of drug users who are going to give me body dysmorphia? But strongman, yeah, these guys are on juice, but to me it's just the same. What machines have you been using at the gym? So at the commercial gym where I go to, cable station is my bread and butter. Smith machine, I use the Smith machine all the time. The T-bar row thingy where your chest is like resting on it. It's the first time I go to a gym where it's not compressing my rib cage because it's actually built for tall people. Usually it's like sitting right there. This one actually sits comfortably here, so I can use it. Why do you go to a commercial gym if you have a home gym? Because my home gym is limited in terms of equipment. And I've come to realize that part of the reason why I have such shit triceps and shoulders is because I never had access to stuff that is the best to develop these muscle groups. So now that I have a Smith machine, I can do presses and I actually feel them in my shoulders. I can do cable lateral raises. When I do lateral raises, this guy here, right there, that little fucker right there, is burning and takes all of the work, but the guy that's attached, nothing, starving. Does fully lock out at the top of dips important? I don't know if it's important, but since it's a movement where you're on top of the weight, I would always tell you to lock, not for hypertrophy, but for safety, because that way you're stable at the top and you can discharge. Whereas when you do a press, there's nothing to discharge. It's at the top of the movement above your head, so it's not needed. But for dips, yeah, lock. Does lifting above the shoulders in lateral raise have any benefit? I don't think so. I know it's a big thing in like bodybuilding circles where like people like to go beyond the range of motion. I think it's just something that people do to flex range of motion. I think it's not needed. I think you would be better off standardizing the range of motion, stopping at parallel, and just loading. Put more fucking weight on the part of the range of motion that matters. I'm also so Lou raises is unnecessary. See, it depends who you are. If you're an Olympic lifter, you want to build that overhead mobility. You want to build that shoulder mobility. But if you're a bodybuilder, like it's what's so funny with Lou raises. Like people do them with what? With plates. Oftentimes plates that are what? Like 10 pounds max? Compare that to your lateral raise. That's not challenging at all. You're now limited by this weird method because you want to put your fingers through the plates. There are better ways to do Lou raises for hypertrophy. But they're good for shoulder health. So if you do them for rehab, then yeah, sure. So the person who asked me if I'm training neck, of course, meant neck, which I understood. Yes, I do train neck. Can you tell? Look at this. Look at this bullshit. What is this? What is this? Why do I have hair everywhere on my body and then... That's so unfair. I need to shave that beard. Is neck rotation necessary? No. That being said, if you're an athlete, I would do neck rotations because that's where the injury occurs usually. It's because your neck is forcefully like tossed to one side. How often do you train neck in your program? I train neck every time I train lower body, so twice a week. Show us the rest of your hair. It's here. It's hiding back there. Is PhD worth it or stick with masters? I would say stick with masters unless you have a position that requires a PhD that you know you're going to be able to land at the end. Because most people who get a PhD they end up becoming teachers for other people who get PhDs. It's a Ponzi scheme. What about split squats on the Smith machine? Excellent. S tier. Is side neck raise necessary? I wouldn't say so, no. Doing yoga affects the gains? No. You're going to get a nice little workout, more flexibility. When is your next video? Whenever I have energy. At this point, I don't want to keep apologizing because I'm just disappointed in myself. But I hope I'll be able to surprise you with an upload as soon as possible. Top 5 upper body exercises. Okay, at the very top, right now, this is me. This is DNH of right now speaking. Dips at the very top. Chin-ups or pull-ups. Some form of forearm isolation, so maybe like a preacher curl, like pronated. Some form of ab isolation, so maybe like some sit-ups. And we're talking about the front here. Okay, I'm talking about the front of the body, no back movements. And then, yeah, maybe something to wrap up with shoulders, like maybe a military press. Are you doing a lot of weighted calisthenics? Yes. I mean, define a lot. I pick and choose the movements that actually work. That's what you do as a bodybuilder. So I do pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, and I do weighted dips. And I do also reverse supinated ring rows. Very good movement too. But like for me, dips and pull-ups are S tier. Like, if you're a bodybuilder and you like doing them, do them. Like do them as often as you can and progressively overload, because the results you'll get from that is insane. Like the way dips have grown my triceps in particular, when I've been a huge hater of dips for triceps for a long time, has changed my mind. How to avoid abuse on lateral raises? Very good question. Well, you rotate, you find a variation. So you do a cable lateral raise maybe, and then a dumbbell lateral raise. Where's the road to 19 inches arms? Well, if I start that road, is going to be a series that is going to last literally years, because I was 18 inches, I think, a year and a half ago. Now I'm like 18.3, 0.4, and it took me 2 years. So in 2 to 3 years, I might be at 19 inches. And again, it's a might. I don't think it's interesting or smart to like try to predict what will happen in the future. I'll keep working hard, I'll keep progressing, and I'll keep growing. That's how I think. How are you warming up for dips? I always like to do a movement previous to the dips for the shoulders. So like military press before I do dips. Like I do 3 heavy sets of military press before dips, and I don't find any dip in performance, no pun intended. Or lateral raises even. That way, when I come into the dips, my shoulders are nice and warm. Baldisama, salut NH, je peux m'entraîner que le week-end à cause des études. Un programme me conseiller. If you can only train Saturday and Sunday, for me, it's upper lower. That's the best you will be able to get with only 2 days of training. And then try to sneak in some isolation throughout the week, because we both know you have time. You have 10, 15 minutes here and there. How long do you train per session? So from the time I step foot into the gym to the moment I leave the gym, every session takes me a bare minimum of 2 hours, upwards of 2 hours and 30 minutes sometimes. But the actual time I spend training is, of course, much less than this, because it's not taking into account the warm-ups, etc. Do you still take MSM as a joint supplement? Yes. Yes. Because if I stop, I pay the price very quickly. Okay. So we are 30 minutes in, so that's the perfect moment. Up. And I think actually I don't even have to do that. I'm going to up. All right. So in all right, the pin message is now the coffee page. So if you wish, you can go in, you can either send a coffee with a question, and I will get to these in priority, or you can send not a coffee, but $5. I do that so that you can send me messages directly, so it's important. Not more than $5, you don't need to give more, and you can send me your program directly in a private message, right? Once you send $5, you can send me messages directly, and I will review them. For today, we will stop at 10 programs. So once there are 10 people who have sent their programs, I'm shutting it down, because I want to be able to take my time to review your programs properly. And if you have sent me a program last time and I did not get to it, ping me on coffee. Say, hey, and I'll get to it. Have you ever been numbers focused for any lift? Yes. For a number of years, I was hyper focused on numbers. That's all I cared about in reality. And these were the worst years of my lifting journey, because I was injured left and fucking right, and I had horrible gains. Just programs, or can we also send other questions on coffee? You can send any question you want on coffee. You just have to send a coffee. No need to send $5, just a coffee. Bullshit big, bullshit strong. Yes, some people have followed. That was the problem that I used to follow, and it was hilariously bad. And we're going to also do this so that you guys don't have to spam as much. Up, click on edit, on customization, and we're going to do slow mode. Perfect. I'm starting to become a real streamer, a real professional. Look at me. Thoughts on rest between reps? Between reps or between sets? If you say between reps, well, that's the rest pause method. I like it. 10 to 15 seconds. Don't overdo it though. You're going to hit legs, but your bike is broke, so now you're walking. That's dedication right there. Are hip hinge necessary? I can only do back extension. Back extension is a hip hinge. So as long as you do them and you progress, you're good. Max Wolf, I am hereby granting you massive gains and a glorious chest day. You will get a massive pump and you will fill every fiber of the chest, including the upper chest. Extra blessing that I'm including today. Is the OMA program outdated? Yes. Opinion on leg press? I think it's a perfectly fair lift. I always love when people shit on it because they are squat supremacists. I also prefer squats, but leg press is a perfectly fine way to build your legs. I got shin pain from hamstring curls. Am I an idiot? I don't know. Are you like banging your shins against the structure? If that's the case, then yes, you're an idiot. If not, if it's like a byproduct pain of the movement, then you have to figure out what the fuck is going on. Concise. Do you think I could get good growth out of the novice ultimate hypertrophy program or doing BGG 4 days a week as well? No. BGG is notoriously taxing on the body. You will not survive. If you absolutely want to go all in on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you have to have a minimalist program on the side. That you don't really have a choice. And I would tell you, and this is something that goes out to everyone on the chat right now who is doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, your program should be mostly put in place, not necessarily to make you better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but to allow you to survive. Because it's a very beautiful sport, but it's extremely taxing on the body and the joints, especially the shoulders and the knees. So you have to find a way to get rid of these problems in the program. How to avoid wrist pain on barbell bench press? When you bench press, don't bench press like this. This bad. This good. Okay, you want to stack the joint. How to break plateaus on military press? Stop doing military press. Do some Smith 80 press and come back to me and tell me if you plateau the same way on this as you do it on military press. To me, military press is a plateau galore because it's just an inherently unstable movement. And there are variations of military press that I favor. Like, for example, the single arm dumbbell military press to me is good. The seated dumbbell military press is good. You also plateau on Smith 80 press. That's interesting. What is your rep range? Wizardman 35, who I know is a troll. You're a troll, but I like trolls. It's fine. And then we have Steve just underneath, who also has a troll profile picture. How to break a plateau on a deficit sit-up variation. So you do one sit-up where the bench is like this and your head is here. And then you do one where the bench is like this. So still a little bit steep, but not too much. Someone says all 6 people watching, leave a like. It's a direct order from a person whose name is Clowning Up and Downtown. I think you have to do it, or else the Bogodos are going to come for you. It's funny because I remember watching a stream and there was a guy who had like 7,000 people watching, and he was like, and he had like maybe 1,000 likes, and he said, "Hey guys, like, can you please like?" And his likes went from like 1,000 to 7,000 because when people watch live, they don't think about liking the thing. Now, I personally don't really care. I know that it's supposed to like help the algorithm, blah blah blah. If you want to like. But I understand, like just now, like the stream jumped from like 100 likes to 50 likes because of, like it's not like automatic to click like on the stream. Do you think I can learn to RDL with a very hunchback spine and not get injured? I don't know what you mean by hunchback spine. Do you have scoliosis? There is a channel of a 4-year lifter who can bench 100 kilo for reps, decent deadlift and squat, but their physique is skinny fat, they aren't heavy. How does this happen? Because they fell for the powerlifting meme. They fell for the notion that if you just get very strong at the big 3, you're going to have a good physique. That is simply not the case. And the thing too that fascinates me is that, okay, let's say you try. It's okay to try. You try and you still look like shit. At what point do you say, Maybe this is not working and I need to like pivot and do something else. These guys never fucking pivot. And they're also the types to complain. And then they start to develop a resentment towards bodybuilders. It's a self-defeating prophecy. You're ruining your own physique. Is there such a thing as bad posture? Yes, there is. And by the way, this is so funny too. We all know what bad posture is. If I show you bad posture, you see bad posture. It's all of these dudes who are like this. Like they turn to the side and they're like their head is like way above and way ahead their shoulders. That's bad posture. Best exercise for upper pectorals. I like incline press, but at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind that every movement for pecs trains also the upper chest. So anything that is going to like target the upper chest in reality has more to do with like the angle of the elbow as you go into the press, and it has more to do with sensation. Because mechanically speaking, it is almost impossible to put the upper chest in a position where it does most of the work, simply because the second you try to do this, there is a competing muscle next to it, the shoulder, that is much more powerful and takes over. So when people say, oh, I'm targeting upper chest, no, you're targeting shoulders. This is a front delt movement, which is not bad, but like the incline press is a deltoid movement before being an upper chest movement. Thoughts on doing only front squats for 12 weeks? Why not? How do I fit my program in the message? There's not enough space. If there is not enough space, what you do is you send me a private message. You can send as many characters as you want in the private message. So let's check. I want just to make sure that we don't end up with too many programs to review on the coffee page. Okay. Let me click. Okay. All right. Well, that's going fast. So we already have. Okay. Okay. Well, that's 2, 3. Okay. We're good. We still have some space. Perfect. Does what you said about BJJ apply to American wrestling? Less so. I think you can do a little bit more conditioning and lifting work when you do wrestling. Can you make more program videos to reference? You mean for my own programs? Make a tier list. You're spoiling a video that I've been working on. Why do I get acne when I shave my face or body? That's a very good question. I have no idea. Thoughts on 2 sets? I like it. How many exercises per workout do you recommend? It really depends on what you train. If you train lower body, I would say most lower body days, 3 to 4 movements for lower body is already plenty. If you do upper body, because of the nature of the upper body anatomically, 7, 6, maybe 8, 9, 10, you can push it. Even if I go on private message, I have a limit that shouldn't be possible. Or you're trying to like send me the Bible, in which case, why? Like the private message function on Coffee, you can send paragraphs of like 500 characters. What are you trying to send me? Did you ever have AC joint pain? Yes, in my right shoulder. How would you rate the GVS Ravage program? Most of his programs that I've seen, I like. Can I sniff your chair? You really don't want to do that. Do I still stand for most of my YouTubers upgraded programs? Not the ones that I uploaded the first year. I think that they're way too high volume and way too high frequency. How to convince your girlfriend to be physically active? That's the $1 million question. That's actually probably the question that I answer the most in the gym, believe it or not. I think that you get more flies with honey. If you approach your girlfriend from like a position of like shaming her for not being active, you're going to get nothing. You're going to kick rocks. What you need to do is you need to present it as an activity that you guys can do together. That's what women like. So present it as a chance for you guys to spend quality time together. And you start her easy. Don't do the mistake of like, I see some guys do it. Like, take your girl to the gym and have her do like heavy deadlifts. She will never come back to the gym. Nice and easy at the start. Box squats with the bar, split squats that you assist, some dumbbell bench press with like 5 pounds, like no more than that. and then you build it up. It has to become a habit. I guarantee you that the second your girl is going to start seeing her legs getting firmer, her ass getting rounder, she will no longer need motivation because she'll finally have tasted what it's like to get results from bodybuilding, and she'll be in it. And if you have a home gym, of course, that really helps. How to convince girlfriend that bulking won't kill her? That's the hard part, unfortunately. Which is sad because most women look better at a higher body weight when they have more muscle mass than they do at a lower body weight. But unfortunately, and I blame the media for that, women have been brainwashed into thinking that the number on the scale matters, when what matters is, are you hot? Merch drop, never. How to convince boyfriend to go to the gym? Well, if you're a girl and your boyfriend is not already in the gym, why are you dating him? And if you're a guy and you're a gay dude and you want to bring your boy to the gym, I don't know. Tell him he'll get a treat if he trains with you. I don't know. Any more female programs on the way, by the way? Well, there's the Casca program that's been like cooking for years. How many sets do you do for lower rep compounds? 2 to 3, never more than that. Do you do any one-on-one or group mentorship or teaching? No. Although it's perfectly aligned with my skills and my personality, I just have a tough time because there's the stigma around the idea of the life coach. And it's like that slippery slope of, I know I could be good at this, but when do I become a guru? You know, I struggle with that personally. It's my own internal hell. How to convince your pet rock to go to the gym? You put it in your pocket. Then you can like throw it at people. You can throw it at, if your gym has no camera, you throw it at people who are using the equipment that you want. Then they turn around like, and you just take their spots and you tell them it's a rock fact. Yes, the $3 private message. If you cannot fit the paragraph in the space, you simply send me a private message. How do you convince your pet Shih Tzu to work out? Well, first and foremost, why did you get a Shih Tzu? Like, you can't bulk that dog up. It's just going to end up fat. Yes, it's an Over the Garden Wall reference. I love Over the Garden Wall. I just rewatched it with my wife. We are obsessed with that show. I think I watched it like 5 or 6 times. Why do you feel like you struggle with comparing yourself to internet gurus? Because I have principles that are like filling up my head, and these principles sometimes don't align with the things that I want to do. But it's like you have to wait it out. Are you willing to go against some of your principles? I've already turned my back on so many of them that at this point I'm very, very careful. Do you think your wife would love you more if you were taller? No, but I'm taller than her. If I were shorter than her, we wouldn't even be together. Again, if you cannot fit your Bible of a message in the in the donation thing on Coffee, just send me a private message. And in the private message, if there is a character limit, you can send more messages. Like, you're not going to be charged for every message you send me. It's as much as you want. Okay, now is where things get interesting, because the last time a few of you guys pointed out that the stream was not as interesting as it could have been because you couldn't see the program. And I agree. So what I want to do is I want to share my screen. But how do I share my screen? Well, there is an option on the stream that allows me to share my screen, but I don't know what you're going to see. Are you going to see things that you shouldn't be seeing? Maybe. Like, I'm taking a look. I don't know what it's going to like project on the screen. So yeah. Like, I like even just like taking a look at like, this is fucking hell. Like, oh well. You know, the thing is that I have so many ideas of things that require me to share my screen, like physics reviews, like a workshop for us to make programs together. So it's going to have to happen. We are going to do it. Let's hide all of the things, the nudes and everything. Oy, oy, oy. how to send a private message. It's in the pinned comment. It's in the description. So this is coffee transaction, and I see this here. And yes. All right, let me check how many messages I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 2 more open spots for program review, and then we're done. All right. So that's coffee. I'm going to plug the laptop. And as the people who watch the stream know, this is the part of the stream where I struggle the most. So I'll be back in 5 minutes. Ouh, c'était chaud. C'était très chaud. OK. Incroyable. C'est bon. We will not be disconnected. This is my I showed you this because I don't know if you can see it. I have what we call in French une tache de naissance. And depending on where you look at it, if you guys look at it from here, it's in the shape of a heart. And if I look at it myself from here, it's in the shape of Africa. Okay. Let me see. Up. I'm going to be showing you guys. Did you guys? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there's still some space. All right. So we're going to start with the program reviews, and I'm going to, of course, make it as educative as possible. Our review still open. There are only 2 spaces left for reviews, and after that, we're done. Okay. Oh là là, oh là là. Alors, qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Oh, je suis en train de faire un truc de zinzin là. Okay. So if I go here, oh, you guys can see it. And actually, it's pretty cool. Okay, YouTube is not as shit as I thought it was. And I have like even my little face right there. Okay, and actually that's pretty cool. Nice, nice. If I could like, it would be so much better if I could like have 2 like separated screens. If I could like scroll directly on this. Yeah, some people say your eyes are burning. Turn on dark mode. What? Is there a dark mode even? Well, next time. You guys are spoiled. I share my screen already. Next time will be dark. Okay? All right. Well, that's great for the people who are following. So we're going to do a program review, and we're going to start. This is so ghetto. I love it. We're going to start with our friend Bugaluni, who sent his program, and he says he fucked up and forgot to put some. Oh, okay. So you didn't send the right program. Excellent. We love it. And what is wrong about it? You forgot to put some rep set ranges in. And you're walking on top of that. Well, I'm going to review what I can review, my good friend. So you start with Friday for some reason. Heel elevated squats, 4 sets of 6 to 12. Okay, that's good. You can always consider going just to 3 sets. So maybe doing an evolving set range. Then hamstring curls, 3 sets of 10 to 18. What a weird rep range. I'm not opposed to that. It's probably one of the only lift I would tell you that this is okay. 1 set of standing calf raises. Why 1 set? That's just peculiar to me. Why not 3? Hammer preacher curls, 3 sets of 8 to 16. Okay, that's okay. Please don't do that, Coffee. That is not a good rep range for hammer preacher curls because it's way too big. You understand that for you to clean that rep range is going to put you coffee, what the fuck, is going to put you, maybe it's because other people are sending messages. It's going to put you in a position where you're going to spend so much time with the same weight. Do not do that. 8 to 12, 6 to 10. 6 to 12 is the max I would allow. And you superset that with cable push downs, 6 to 10. So that rep range is normal for some reason. One set of standing calf raises. So you do like 1, 1, 1. I don't see the point of that, but okay. Neck curls 3 times AMRAP. Why AMRAP? Most likely because you do them with plates. Get an harness. One set of standing calf raises again, and then decline sit-ups 3 times AMRAP. Do not do that. Again, there's a tendency of people to use certain movements only for AMRAPs. AMRAPs are there to build work capacity. If you can load. Please load these movements. Saturday, dumbbell bench press, 3 sets of 5 to 10, perfect. Overhead press, 4 sets of 3 to 8, perfect. Landmine twist, 3 sets AMRAP. Refer back to what I just said. Seated cable row, 3 sets of 8 to 14, weird rep range again, but okay. I will allow it for this movement. Chest supported shrugs. So you're doing them on the implement that puts you at this angle and you just go like this. Honestly, some people would shit on you for doing this because it's unorthodox, but I actually think it's not that bad. The issue is that your rep range is stupid. I hope this is what you were saying when you said you fucked up the rep range and this is 6 to 10. I'm going to assume it's 6 to 10. Then lat pull down 8 to 10. Okay. When we do these reviews, we always want to then go back and then take a look at the globality of the day. So you have a movement for chest, a movement for shoulders, a movement for abs, a movement for back, a movement for traps, and a movement for lats. This is a solid day. The issue is there is something missing. Do you guys in the chat see? Okay, what did I do? Did I do something stupid? Did I do something stupid? Oh, okay, never mind. It's just the chat that like had an aneurysm for a second. Arms, yes. There is an issue here and there is no isolation. Where is your isolation work? All I see for the upper body is that you're spamming compound movements. That is going to lead to an imbalance. You really do not want to be doing this. So I want to see some tricep isolation. I want to see some bicep isolation, some forearm. You already isolate abs, so you know that you're supposed to do it. Then on Sunday, so on Friday, you already did a bunch of stuff, but it was mostly in the quad area. Okay, so here you're going to do mostly hamstrings, I guess. So above the knee rack pull. Okay, above the knee rack pull is a specialized movement for the traps. The only way I would see that fitting in a bodybuilding program is if you have a massive, and I mean massive, issue developing your traps. But the problem is this: on Saturday, you're already doing chest supported shrugs. Do you really need back-to-back trap isolation like this? Then easy bar preacher curl. So essentially what I see you do is that you pair your isolation with your lower body work. It's not necessarily bad, but we see that you're sitting on a ton of volume because it's not synergistic. Then you do your cable push downs again. You already do them on the Friday. That's barely 48 hours to recover. I don't understand why you're cramming all of that volume. Then your neck curls, okay. Decline sit-ups, okay. And then back path, calves, Stairmaster. So if you set a program, you know me, I'm going to shit on you if I think that there are issues, but you included my favorite cardio, so I'm going to cut you some slack. RDLs for the Tuesday, 3 sets of 6 to 12. So let's look. You did above the knee rack pull on Sunday. That gives you 2 days to recover, but that should be okay. Pendulum squats, 4 sets of 6 to 12. Chest supported row. Okay, no rep range for this, so this is where you fucked up, which makes me think that this means that the 8 to 16 rep ranges are actually legit. Knee extension, real delt machine fly. Okay, I think that you have an issue that I see a lot with bodybuilders. You're really good at making lower body days, and your upper body days suffer in comparison. So I would spend more time reworking and revamping your upper body days. Case in point, look at the Wednesday bench press superset with dumbbell pullover. That's excellent. My favorite superset. A random set of calf raises. I'm a preacher curl again and cable push down. So you don't have much variety at all. And this day is weird. Like, look at your Wednesday. You're doing 1, 2, essentially 3, 4 exercises, 5. Can you justify going to the gym? It looks to me like you're going to the gym for the sake of saying, I went to the gym, but you could just take these days and compress them. Your 5-day program in reality should be a 4-day program. And we could even go as far as to say it could be a 3-day program if you cut down on the redundancy. The goal of bodybuilding is to get as much as possible from as little time as possible. Spend as little time in the gym as possible. That is my review of your program, my good friend. Okay. Feedback from the chat and the peanut gallery, please. Is this clear? And do you enjoy being able to look at the program? And I think that this is tremendously better. Like just me looking at the screen right now, I can tell that it's so much more engaging than what I did last time. So this is going to be a staple. I've managed to surmount my fear of sharing my screen and having my nudes being revealed. Let's move on to a new program, and we're going to do Lovely Cup of Tea, who I know is a bit of a long time watcher of the channel. And he sent me the Bible. Please condense it as much as possible. Be nice. I'm an old man. Okay, so you sent me. So I'm just going to go with what you just sent me. So for one day of your program, and don't add stuff like Mike Israel curved back, rolled shoulders, deadlift with calf raises and shrug. Is that like the name of a porn video? Do you need to have a lift that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 words? I don't think that's needed. I think that's way unnecessary. Okay, so RDL, heavy with shrug. So I guess you copied that from Erzoviak, which is fine. 2 sets of 5 to 10, great rep range. Whatever the fuck Mike Israel, 1 set of 5 to 10. Okay, thank you for that. 1 set of 5 to 10, which is okay, I suppose, because in truth, what you're doing is just an offshoot of the first movement. So for the few of you who don't speak mid-head, what he's doing is that he's doing 2 sets of RDLs and he rolls the shoulders back like this at the end of the movement. And then his third set, he's going to do the exact same thing, but he's going to explode onto his calves, which also means you won't be able to use the same weight. So to me, this is already pretty gimmicky. Plate stretch on preacher bench. Why are every single one of your movements these like word salads? Plate stretch on preacher bench, neck flex, 2 sets, 5 to 20. So you could just have told me neck isolation. Neck cable extension, finally, 5 to 20. Ring push-ups where you turn the arm externally like this. 2 sets of 5 to 10. Okay, that's good. What are the stars? Why? What do they mean? Do you mean that it's a separated set, a separated day? That's day 1 still. Okay. Wow. Did you even send $5? Single leg calves, partial toes, really point. Are you fucking with me right now? What the fuck is this? Are you trying to get me to have like an aneurysm on stream? What is this? Single leg calves, partial toes, really pointed inwards. I like the really, like he wants to impress upon me that like they're really pointed inwards. And then, no, this is the best. Then 2 points and nothing. So you're not giving me a set or rep range. You're just like, you just run me through this long ass list of bullshit and then I don't even have a payback. It's like getting a hand job and then being told, yeah, go come in the flower pot at the back of the house. This is insane. Then fat grip, dynamic knee up, wider grip, chin up. Fat grip, dynamic knee up, wider grip, chin up. So the guy is using fat grips. His knees are up to his fucking chest. He's dynamic, so most likely cheating. Wide grip, chin up. 2 sets of 5 to 10. Can't you just do normal chin ups? And then 1 set of upright dips, 1 set. So he wants me to know that he's doing 1 set of upright dips, 1 set. It's very important that he repeats the information that I already know that is completely fucking useless. Then more stars. Excellent. Love it. Front rack. This is still the same day, by the way. This is day 1 of the program. He's still going. Front rack, dumbbell, deep Bulgarian split squat, only up to 90-degree joint angle. 5-3 third 2. Am I trying to defuse a bomb here? Am I working for NASA? What is this? It was supposed to be a fitness Q&A. Front rack. So front rack dumbbell. What even is that? The point of dumbbell is that you can hold them in your hands. So you're telling me that you're taking dumbbells and you're like front racking them like this and then split squats? But he says, no, like, no, get this. He says deep, only up to 90-degree joint angle. Which one is it? Is it deep? Is it deep or up to 90 degrees? And he's contracting slowly from the quad. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you for letting me know that you're not contracting your butthole as you're doing front fucking Bulgarian split squats. Then fat grip curl with some editor cheat. Okay. One set of CC squats if energy is there. All right. Okay. You are starting to get into like normal territory. We're already way past the point where like this is already way too much for one day. Then limbo crunch. Are you doing like this? Is this what you're saying? Like limbo crunch? I don't know if I'm being trolled, but this is funny as fuck. This is like, I love roasting programs, and there's plenty to roast here. So limbo crunch, sure. Why the fuck not? Limbo crunch, okay. Wait, what is going on here? What happened? What? Okay, that's the start. Okay, so limbo crunch, fat grip straight bar, OHE. I don't know what OHE is. Also, if it's OHP, why would you use fat grips? Are you trying to turn it into like a balancing act? By the way, pause. We are pausing the roast for a second. Don't send any more of your programs. We've hit the cap. Forearm work is optional now that I do fat grip chin-ups. Please don't do that. Fat grips don't replace forearm isolation. Day 2 is the first message. Just no. You're telling me that day 2 is this? Oh, the fuck this. It's going to be a no from me, dog. I'm going to skip straight from day 3. You can, if you want, refund your donation. Weighted deficit reverse grip push-ups on parlets. You could have just told me reverse grip push-ups, like, okay, sure. 3 sets of 6 to 10. That's a good movement. Good. Cable upright row slight sheet to the ribs. 10 to 14. Deficit cable deficit cable. What is a Ukrainian deadlift even? For 45 kilos. There's an issue here. When I see deadlift and 45 kilos in the same sentence, I think there's a problem. Why can't you just do normal deadlifts? What happened to lifting that we have to do all this complex shit? Then, you, of course, you do chest expanders. Slow pullover to push downs, contracting from long head. Sure. Easy bar GM press. Oh my God, a regular movement. 8 to 14. Okay, I don't like the rep range. I would do something like a 6 to 12. Fit chick booty kickback. That's a troll. I'm getting trolled. 2 sets of 8 to 15. In the wide woods of Jason Genova, I'm being so fucking trolled right now, guys. Fat grip, underhand, easy bar, spinal flexion, lat row. 2 sets of 8 to 12. So you're doing like rounded back rows, okay? Again, I have no idea what anyone would do this and not just a regular row. Posed, weighted, single leg calf raise. Just do regular calf raises. You most likely have small calves. Fat grip, pinwheel, hammer curl. Sure. Mike Israel line curl. I'm sorry, NH. What I dislike is not Mike Israel, is what comes afterwards. It's the litany of bullshit that comes afterwards. If your movements are inspired by him, you need to detox from his content because it's not helping you. And so you say OHE. So OHE is a thing, and I just don't know what it is. All right. Here's what you're going to do. Any movement that is more than like 2 words, I don't want you to do them. That way, you're going to simplify your program and do movements that are normal. Please. And then just do less. Condense the fuck out of it. Why are you doing so much? Okay, that's it. And again, if you send a program and you send me something like this, don't come to me and complain that the review is not serious. Because how the fuck am I supposed to do a review on this? Send something that makes sense. I speak 4 languages. I don't speak every language yet. All right. We have someone with a JoJo. See how clean that is? Look at this. And he has a JoJo profile pic. I was going to make fun of him, but look, it's so clean. Ah, oui, regardez la beauté. Eh, ma beauté, regarde. Comment c'est beau. Alors, si je clique, il se passe quoi si je clique? Parce que là, il y a des trucs sur le côté. Non, c'est tout ce que je dois voir. On est bon. Eh. I speak French, I speak Spanish, I speak French Canadian, which, yes, is a language, and I speak English. Mm. C'est du français, c'est du français. Okay, let's keep going. This is also much more engaging for me because I like it's like keeping me awake. All right. So on Monday, he does 3 sets of dumbbell press 4 to 8. Beautiful. 3 sets. And I suppose, and this is why that type of program is much easier for me to read, is because look at the colors. The colors indicate that there are supersets. That way, I don't have to like try to like understand what you mean. I already have a wife. It already is enough work trying to figure out what one person means when they don't speak straightly. I don't have to do it with every subscriber. That would be great. So dumbbell press and neck flexion superset, beautiful. Then seated barbell overhead press, great movement. 6 to 10 is a great rep range in my opinion. Superset with dumbbell pullover. Yes, we see that there is a discrepancy between the sets, however. 3 and 2. All right, maybe he does 2 sets, and then only 1 additional set of barbell overhead press. That is one way to manipulate volume. I have a question. Let's pretend that you don't see the rest of the program. You just see these first 2 lines. Can you explain why the guy is only doing 2 sets on pullovers? Because there is a reason. I think it's smart, but I want to see if you guys in the chat can tell. Yes, you guys can see. Let's see if I can zoom in. Can I zoom in? Is this zoomed in? Can you guys see it zoomed in? But to answer the question that I asked before I was so rudely interrupted by my own person, this is the max zoom that I can get. Now it's worse. Well, this is the max that I can get. Yeah, because I cannot click on it. So the reason why he's only doing 2 sets of dumbbell pullovers is because he's going to follow up with more back work. And so you see the neutral ups that follow that are also going to be targeting the lats. So it's a smart idea to cut down on 1 set of the dumbbell pullover. So then the next thing he does is neutral pull-ups with the French press, and he's going to superset the 2, 5 to 8 on neutral ups, perfect rep range in my opinion. French press 6 to 12, perfect as well. And then he is going to finish the day, and I think that this is the time to finish the day because he's already not done a lot with dips and pronation twist. There is an issue with doing dips here. The issue is that he's already done dumbbell press that has targeted the shoulders and the chest. He's done seated barbell overhead press that has smoked the shoulders. He did French press that has targeted the triceps. So every single muscle group that is responsible for the dip moving is fatigued. If he wanted to do weighted dips there, I would say it's a bad idea. But he's doing AMRAP, so it's okay. Maybe one day he'll take the dip and do them weighted earlier on in the program. And then he does pronation twists, one of my favorite movements for the forearms. 12 to 18 is a good movement for forearms. I would recommend going high, especially with movements like this. You really don't want to be cheating. You really want to be able to like move the weight. And if you do rest pose, you're going to get an additional amount of weight because the rep range is so high. That is also a trick I recommend you do with rest pose period. The higher your rep range is, the more extra intense reps you'll be able to get once you do your pose. Okay. Then on the Wednesday, he does pendlay rows and deadlifts. So I suppose that this is a rotation. One week he does one, the other week he does the other. ALT, I suppose, means alternate. Then he does single leg calf raises as a superset. Perfect. A heavy movement for the posterior chain, and then you're going to do something for the calves. Pendlay rows being some upper back as well, of course. Then he does seated dumbbell curls. That was the missing piece because he did not really isolate biceps on the Monday. So he is doing biceps and back and biceps. That is a very, very famous way to program. And it's not bad if you do it properly. And so far, he's doing it properly. Then decline sit-ups. Beautiful. There was no ab isolation on the Monday. He does 8 to 12. Great rep range. And the rep ranges so far have been tremendous. 12 to 20, 3 to 5 for deadlift, everything that I would recommend personally. Then he does some pull-ups. So he really likes pull-ups because neutral ups and pull-ups are in the same week. 6 to 10. Okay, I suppose that they're weighted. I would prefer something like a 5 to 8, but up to you. 6 to 10 is the upwards of the range that I would recommend for that movement. Then neck extension, okay, neck work that was also there on Monday. So that guy really focuses on neck, which tells me that he has a certain physique in mind. And then front squats, 2 sets of 6 to 10, and reverse curls, 3 sets of 7 to 10. So quads, he ends with that. Not a big fan. Maybe it could have been the second row of sets because maybe you're very tired at the end of all of this, but if it works, it works. And then some forearms. So far, this is a great example of how to program. And the coffee just like skipped. So far, this is a very great example on how to program. We're going to take like a mini break. I'm going to look at the chats, see how you guys are feeling, if you guys are staying hydrated. Ouf, j'ai chaud. À chaque fois, j'ai chaud. All right. This is really, really good. Let's wrap it up. But that's it. Oh, never mind. So then on the Saturday, so that's right after, no, sorry, on the Friday. So he trains Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So we're entering the spot of the program where now he has to be very precise with his volume because he trains back to back. So I really do not want to see competing muscles repeating themselves the day right after. Barbell close grip bench, 3 sets of 6 to 10. Easy bar chest supported row, 3 sets of 8 to 12. And I've seen a comment in the chat, someone saying, oh, this is like too much supersets, it's too hard. The way he's supersetting things is really not that hard at all. What you need to build to be able to do that is work capacity. But once you have built it, it's going to allow you to get in so much quality volume that it's really, really worth it. So close grip bench 6 to 10, I recommend that rep range. Chest supported row 8 to 12. These are the rep range that I would put in place if I was making the program. Then preacher curl. So he's doing biceps again. That's only 2 days after you did seated dumbbell curls, but it's possible to recover in 48 hours. 3 sets of 5 to 10. That rep range is a bit low. I would only recommend that to someone who is very comfortable with preacher curl. If you're not, 8 to 12. And then skull crushers 6 to 10. Likewise, I will always tell someone who's new to skull crushers to stay to like 10 to 15, just to like habituate the tendon. We see something interesting here. There's a discrepancy. 3 sets of preacher curls, 4 sets of skull crushers. How does that work exactly? That's most likely something that happens afterwards. But that's a bit of a waste of time. It could be optimized. Then cable hammer curl, which is a great movement. You can do them both facing the cable stack like this in front of you. This is a bit of a weird movement. Or with the cable behind you, and this time you can allow the arm to really stretch and extend behind you. So that's a great movement. I recommend you guys try it, especially if dumbbell hammer curls feel weird. Then weighted leg raises, 6 to 12. Perfect. Behind the neck overhead press wide grip, which is a good movement for shoulders. You just have to habituate the shoulder sockets to it so that you don't get injured. And you get and he does 4 to 8. So I'm going to assume that he's really comfortable with that movement because that's really high intensity. And then some forearm roller, he says 1 minute because I suppose he does it for time. You can do it for reps as well. You can count 1 time of the weight going up as you roll as 1 rep. And then for Saturday, so let's keep an eye out on repeating muscle groups. Front squats and calf raises, none of which were trained on Friday. Very good. Front squats 4 to 6. One of the few movements I would say that low rep range is actually pretty good because you can really push it, and that way your front rack position doesn't become the limiting factor. Then cheat shrugs or dumbbell shrugs. Okay. As many reps as possible. Okay. 1 mark. That's my first issue with your program. Why as many reps as possible? You could do 10 reps and really load the fuck out of your sheet shrugs and dumbbell shrugs. I would tell you to do that. And you superset that with RDL. Do you guys in the chat agree with that? Do you see an issue with that? What could be the issue of that superset? Which, by the way, the people who are telling me it's too small, you need to get your eyes checked. I have shitty eyesight and I can perfectly see it. First off, King of Cause says the RDL should come first, and I agree because it's the high intensity movement. It's the most fatiguing movement. MSR says traps would be destroyed. Josh says upper back tags very hard. Yes. So DLDL is not. The phone users. Some of you guys are watching this on phone. I forgot that. Yeah, that superset for me is a bit meh because even though the RDL is not an upper back movement, you still need your upper back to stabilize the weight. And so if it's tired, you're not going to be able to tap fully into the power of your posterior chain. So I don't like it. And then machine lateral raise, face pulls, and neck size. And this is the only giant set of the program. Giant sets, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know what they are, is when you do more than 2 movements back to back to back. Giant sets should be reserved for the end of programs if possible, because they're usually here to be time effective. And if possible, they should be comprised mostly of isolation movement, which in this case is exactly the case: lateral raises, face pulls, and neck sides. This program to me is a 9.5 out of 10. This is how you're supposed to program. The guy trains hard. He trains 4 times a week. Look at the amount of volume he does. He does a lot of volume, but it is so tightly packed, it is so neatly prepared that it is very efficient in terms of recovery. So we all salute the JoJo profile guy because he did a tremendous job with his program. Excellent. And I'm going to, so we just did 3 programs. And I stopped sharing my screen, so now I understand how it works. And we're going to take a small break. I'm going to read the chat, and I'm going to go answer some of your donations because you can send a program. Don't send any more programs. We are capped for the day. But you can also send questions that I'm going to go check out right now. But I'm just going to check the chat a little bit. First off, how are you guys doing? I must say that I'm very happy because I was refilling like shit this morning, and streaming immediately makes me feel better. I will review every single program that I got. And if I cannot review it today, I will review it the next time. There's an hypertrophy stream every single month. Yeah, I feel like shit, Ghost. What's going on? This is your safe space to share all of your troubles. The review is not stopped. It's just a little pause. We're going to get back at it. Drink some water. Don't be dehydrated. What's the range of French viewers on YouTube? I don't know. Mes Français là dans le chat. Mes Canadiens là, mes Français là. Mes Africains. Vous êtes Français, vous êtes là ou pas? Mettez-moi des petits drapeaux français dans le chat là. Des drapeaux français là, la Marseillaise là. Yeah, we have plenty of people who watch the stream who are French. Did I dream this, or have you made a philosophical video on Shrek called Ogres Have Layers? Yeah, it's real. But it got taken down by DreamWorks. Eh, les Français, vous avez merdé là. J'ai pas vu un seul drapeau français dans le chat. C'est grave. Où est votre patriotisme? Dean Shepard. Can hammer curls help increase the size of the brachialis? Not the bicep. Or any curl is already enough to train it. Well, yes, they can increase it, of course. But other curl variations will also do it, maybe less efficiently. Je parle français, mais c'est pas parfait. Tu parles déjà mieux français que 80% des Français, donc t'es bon, hein, t'inquiète. Why do your programs on Boost Camp only have lateral raises once a week? Because I think it's enough. I think that doing it like 2 or 3 times a week, oftentimes is just like lifting for the sake of lifting, and it actually hinders progression. NH, what do you think about men gaining and 11% body fat? Perfectly doable. Can you make a Garou training program? I'm waiting for One Punch Man Season 3 to drop, to be honest. Is Lou raises adequate replacement for laterals? I wouldn't say so. because the issue is like, how do you load? How do you progressively overload? Do you eventually move to dumbbells? How awkward is this going to be for your shoulders? Start bulking at 15% body fat is cool to you. If you already have a large amount of muscle on your frame, then yeah. Are doing overhead press and upright rows enough for side delts? I find lateral raises boring. If you do your upright rows properly, I think it's a good isolation. Is 20 kilograms lateral raises impressive? Depends entirely on your form. How would Renaissance periodization score change if you would review them right now? I would probably dock points for programming. Ampik says that you can't really feel your back on pull-ups even when using the form you described. Any tips? I think it has to do with problems with the scapula and rotator cuff. Well, in this case, I would recommend that you, one, do scapular pull-ups, and two, try to find a variation, a supinated variation of lat pull-downs where you can like really allow the elbow to travel upwards and then like drive with the elbow and like squeeze. Is swinging while doing hanging knee raises normal? No, it means that you're not controlling the momentum on the way down. And it also means that you're skipping part of the stretch, which is bad. How important is direct brachialis work? I would say not that vital at all. I honestly started really like paying attention to that portion of the arm maybe a year ago. And oftentimes these movements will also grow the brachioradialis and the biceps brachii. So it's not like you have to like do variations that only train that because they don't really exist. But you can start doing like just pinwheel curls like inside the body, and that's already enough. What do you think of slowing down progress for a mountain training arc for spiritual gains? Do you need to slow down your gym progression to gain spirituality? I would say that the two would come hand in hand. Jibiru says that GM presses saved his elbows and that long head work feels more comfortable on elbows too. This is something that many people report. It's interesting. GM presses tend to be very polarizing. Either people hate them and say they're an elbow destroyer, or like me, they have done them and they say that they report that it really helps with elbow tendonitis. Is 140 kilos times 2 post bench good at 20 years old? Depends on your body weight. If you are like 250, 60 pounds, no. If you're below 200 pounds, yes. Lee qui demande comment on fait pour commencer la salle quand on n'y est jamais allé. How do you start going to the gym when you never went? I recommend starting in your bedroom or at the local park, just doing like calisthenics, push-ups and stuff. And once you feel ready, just show up to the gym. There is so much information on the internet that there is really no excuse of saying, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It's all already there. Exercises for pitbull back, anything that is going to blow the fuck out of your traps. So like croc rows, cheat shrugs. Yeah. Do you really need to do overhead work for the long head of the triceps? No. See, it's what amuses me with people. There's nuance in this. Yes, movements where your arm is above your head and your long head is stretched will recruit the long head, but it's not the only way to recruit the long head. There are other ways. Can you substitute pull downs or pull ups with dumbbell pullovers? No. You can substitute pull downs because pull downs and pull ups sort of compete with one another. They're a very similar movement. They're the same movement. Dumbbell pullovers are something else. I would always say to do dumbbell pullovers as an addition, but don't replace vertical pulls. Do you think arm wrestlers have arm training figured out? No. No. And I don't say that you shit on arm wrestlers. It's just that in general, sport-specific training is in its infancy because there's so much nonsense going on that even a sport that is super specialized like arm wrestling still has a lot of people doing stupid stuff. And there are people like Todd Hutchings who like to call it out because he likes to point out, for example, that there are a bunch of arm wrestlers who keep using grippers because they think, oh, make me win at arm wrestling. But in reality, it's not a movement that helps. Or they do wrist curls in isolation, which is great for size if you want a thick forearm. But for arm wrestling, you want a wrist curl that you're going to do with your back pressure. All of that is on the athletes to improve their own sports. That's what I'm doing with bodybuilding. Qu'est-ce que j'ai soif, mon Dieu. Andrew Sutherland, who I think has someone that I recognize as a profile picture. I play rugby. I saw you say you love the sport. Did you ever play yourself? Favorite team? It's pretty lame to say, but my favorite team is the All Blacks, just because they're super dominant and they're almost like an anime team. They're so unreally strong. And I played when I was in high school. I was really bad at it. I also played American football. I was also really bad at it. Are 21-inch natural arms possible? Leroy Colbert type shit. Do I believe that it's possible for a natural lifter to reach that? I would need to see it. Because you have to keep in mind that measurements tend to be greatly exaggerated, especially measurements from like back then. A lot of the icons from back then straight up lied about their measurements. And, you know, I look at my arm and I'm like 18.4 and I'm not shredded at all. And I'm like 18.4. 3 inches above that would look like I have a disease, like I have a tumor in my arm. So I would buy that there were natural lifters like at around 19 inches, 20 inches, but 21 is like really out there. But you have to keep in mind also that it's all about conditioning. For example, if you want to bulk up and be fat, it's very easy to get 20-inch arms. Like if I wanted to get 20 inches arms, I could get them in a year, but I would be fat as fuck. I don't want that, you know. Just recently, I was watching an arm wrestling match with a guy who had 24 inches biceps. 24, but he was fat. Okay, let's first off, let's click on this and on this. And I'm going to go and review some of the questions that you guys have sent me on Coffee. If you send me a program, don't send it like in the little space that you get for the coffee donation. It's way too small. All right. Yes. Roman, for example, Roman, you sent me something that looks like a program on the coffee thing, but you did not check. And so your message was like cut in half. And also, I think you sent that as in like, for me to make you a program. I did not say we were going to do that today. So if you want to refund your donation, please do so. There will be eventually a workshop to create programs, but I will announce it. I will let you guys know. Don't just decide by yourself you want to have that happen today. Chris Dang Del Rey Misfits. Hi NH, I reached out to you on Insta about referring you for a position at your company. Wow. That's very nice of you. Well, you don't have to. The guy is going to refer me to his company and gave me money. You're very nice. Thank you very much. Question from Chin Chin. Advice for trying to help a close friend who is terminally online, breaking his body from blue-collar work. He's trying to pursue an online relationship, red flag, that's failing. I keep trying to recommend the gym, going outside, just moving, but it falls on deaf ears. 13 years friend. So first and foremost, I commend you. You're a good person. You have a bro who is struggling and you're trying to save them. You have to understand and keep in mind that you cannot save people who don't want to be saved. Your friend is most likely hiding away from the world because it's comfortable. He has an online relationship, which really means he's being taken advantage of by someone who might very well be a 21-year-old kid from Zimbabwe. Until he wakes up and realizes that this is not real life and that he's not actually living, you cannot help him. You can try and encourage him, but you cannot drag him to the gym. So what I would try and do if I were in your position, and I've been in your position, God knows I've been in your position, is try to see if there are some physical activities outside he enjoys. Does he enjoy mucking? Does he enjoy hunting? Does he enjoy swimming? Get him out of the house using the things that he likes. And once he's out of his comfort zone, try and push him to do other things. Try and push him to meet real people. I can tell you that if you isolate yourself, the ability to be social starts to deteriorate, and the more time you spend as a shut in, the harder it is to break away from that new life that you've built for yourself. But at the end of the day, again, if he doesn't want to listen, he will not listen. And you have to be at peace with that. Hmm. Okay. So some people are sending me their programs on Instagram, which not a fan of that, to be honest, guys, because I will not be able to show everyone. So again, you can refund your donation if you want to, or you can send it to me via message. Matty sent a donation, currently finishing law school and working, so my time is limited. This includes struggling to sleep enough. Can't hit the gym more than 4 times a week. I understand, like, this is already so revealing. Can't hit the gym more than 4 times a week. Who said that 4 times a week is like the must hit frequency? You can absolutely train 3 times a week, and that's fine. You can even train 2 times a week. Full body twice a week for someone who is stressed and pressed for time is excellent. You're saying you're running the Doomslayer push pull leg. I say at the start of the Doomslayer push pull leg, this is not a program for people who have busy lives. This is especially not a program for people who can't sleep enough. It's a program for people who have time to dedicate to the gym. Please jump on my Silver Era program and do only 2 days out of the program and 3 if you have the time. I guarantee you, you'll get more time to sleep and your gains are going to be so much better. You do not have to train high frequency to get results for bodybuilding. You don't. What kind of people you would search for new friendships? Me? People like me who are fine with like not seeing each other for months at a time, which I understand is not common because, as we say in French, loin des yeux, loin du cœur. Some people, if you can't see them every single week, they forget about you. Where do you find the program? It is on Boostcamp, my good friend. You type Natural Hypertrophy Boostcamp and you will find the Silver Era program. It is free. And H, am I a good friend? You're a parasocial friend. Polish Cavalry, have you ever had neck, upper back numbness and tingling, and what movements help with it? Train neck is my best advice. If you're the type of person who constantly gets these shooting pains up your neck, up your upper back, it's nerve. Your nerves get stuck. You have to find a way to get them unstuck, and the best way to do that is to train your neck, is to stretch that neck and really like go and through the movement so that the thoracic spine in general is stretched. Thinking about starting the Hercules program, is there anything you would change about it? You don't have to do nucleus overload. You can just do straight sets. Would you recommend ring pull-ups rather than bar pull-ups? No. Ring pull-ups are much more unstable. I think that where ring pull-ups are superior is that they are easier to do anywhere because you just need a tree and you just put your rings and you can do pull-ups. But if I had the choice between rings or a bar, I always take the bar. Why does my lower back hurt when doing squats? Maybe because you bend over too much. Okay, Roman, you sent the program review in my DMs. Beautiful. I will get to it. What strength and volume standards do you need to hit to achieve substantial neck growth? That's a good question. I don't like strength standards. I think they're stupid. But if you can get to a point where you can do like slow, controlled like neck curls with a 45-pound plate, you're already doing good. And H, I have a bloated stomach. What can I do to change it? Try and see what foods in your diet cause the bloating. It might be dairy, it might be red meat, it might be gluten, it might be oats, it might be pasta. And once you find that, eliminate it. That bloating you're seeing is inflammation. It's the sign that you're not digesting it properly. So that's one thing. And then you might just be fat. So stop being fat. Can I still make good gains working as an electrician? Yes, all of my blue collar workers in the chat, you can make good gains. You just have to keep in mind that you're going to have to train less frequently, because you need more recovery time and you're going to have to be more intense and do less volume. Tris Lives is actively doing neck. Salute to all of my bros who train neck. Can you grow your neck with neck extension only? Yes, but why would you? How do I get biceps like you without injecting synthol? Impossible. Impossible. Look at this. That's pure oil. You see that vein? Look at that vein. That's on the bulk too. Let's see. Someone said that they sent a coffee. Okay, we have a message from Eddie. I've been making great progress on your guts hypertrophy program. I have a question though. Is there a way to progress on the exercises with 4 sets? Double progression, or is it up to your discretion? Of course, there's a way to progress on the exercise with 4 sets. It's the 3 to 4 set method. So you do your 4 sets, and once you've hit the top of the rep range for every single one of the sets, for the first set, and then for the other 3 sets, you get as many as you can. You go down to 3 sets and you add more weight. That is evolving rep range and set range. That is what I preach, and every single one of my program is articulated around that. Do noble nadis ever get together and lift? No, because we are a busy people. Pretty much every single noble nadi is not just an influencer. They do other things on the side. And we barely have enough time for our lives as is, which is why the collabs are pretty rare. Do you take any supplements? I take creatine, I take MSM powder, and I take protein powder. That's it. Starts and ends there. All of these pills about like testosterone and all of that, nonsense. It's a literal scam. And every single influencer that pushed that scam should be regarded with suspicion because they know it doesn't fucking work. Would you recommend adding RDLs to the TOGI program for the spinal erectors? Yes, but keep in mind that the TOGI program is for people who are leg day skippers because TOGI has no legs. Comment la pratique régulière de la musculation influence ta perception du temps et de l'éphémère, en sachant que les gains physiques sont temporaires mais que l'effort reste? All right, beautiful philosophical question. I would really like it if you could save that question and ask it next week for the self-improvement Q&A, because I don't want to get into the details today. This is an hypertrophy Q&A. Are you carb sensitive? Yes, I'm a carb boy. Carbs are my life. I'm about to piss myself. So I'm going to take a very short bathroom break, and then I will be right there. And I'll also take that opportunity to get more water because I'm parched. So once I'm back, I'll take a few more questions from coffee, and then we'll get right back to the program reviews. See you guys in a second. I'm back. How you doing? Okay. That sucks. Jesus. C'est pas très confort, hein. Bon, c'est pas grave. All right. Let's see. A few more questions. I also grabbed the snack. I recommend you grab a snack too. We have a question. So what the fuck is this? Yes. All right. So I thank you for the people who are sending donations for your Prime reviews. The parameters of the Prime review is you have to send me a message on Coffee. If you send me a link to something else, I can't review it. Okay. Agriold, you sent your program, but you sent it and it got cut off. Please send it as a private message if you haven't already. Don't send me links for the people who are sending me links. Okay. Do we have a question? Okay, we have Kevin who asks advice on training arms around a bad chest tweak. Please help. I sweated 5 times last week. Define what is a bad chest tweak. Did you pull something? Are there certain chest movements you can do comfortably? Is every single chest movement bad? You have to go through the motions. How long has it been going on? If it's been 2 weeks, it most likely is nothing. If it's been 2 months, that's a different beast. When did the tweak happen? Did it hurt immediately? Did it hurt afterwards? Did it make a sound? Is there a visual effect? When you look at your chest and you like open up and you like flex your chest, do you have a dent here? Did you see an issue here? You have to like diagnose the problem yourself. I can't do it from a distance. All right. You put me in timeout last time for farting, correct? And I will do it again. Try me, motherfucker. Do you ever take pre-workout? No, I'm very anti-stimulants. Thoughts on post deadlifts? I guess good if you're a powerlifter. How do you diagnose it? What I just said. Did it hurt when it happened? Did you hear a sound? Is there anything that is there any mark or visual? Do you see a dent in the pec? All of that can be the sign of something more serious. NH, I can replace one of deadlifts on your zero era prime for a leg curl. Yes, you can. Absolutely. There's going to be less overall development. Why do you take MSM powder? Because it makes my tendons fall tremendous. Why are my abs uneven? Because you're born with uneven abs. Unfortunately, that's genetics. Okay. We are going to go back to program reviews because we have a bunch of programs to get to. You guys. So I told you to not send any more programs, but I suppose it fell on deaf ears. Oh, maybe a few of these are questions. Okay, that's also, oh, that's a question, that's a problem. I'm going to get back to that later, but this is a problem. Okay. La technologie avancée du partage d'écran. Hop. 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 Le partage d'écran. On est bon. All right, let's start again with the program review. Hi, NH. Thanks for the prime review. Not too focused on, okay. And he starts with notes. You can do that. That's the beauty of these live program reviews. You can send me as much information as you want. You can tell me about your past injuries, if you're an athlete, if there are certain muscle groups you care about, and not some where you don't care about them. This is a safe space. I will not judge you. So, for example, Agriold doesn't care about leg hypertrophy. He's an upper body bro, and that is perfectly fine. He wants to focus on chest, shoulders, and arms, the bro muscles, as he used to power lift, but he switched to hypertrophy. He saved, guys. We saved another one. I don't care too much about my back as it's better than the other muscle groups, which is why I put rows last. Can't find a way to add weight to hanging leg raises because hanging leg raises are notoriously hard to progressively overload on. So what you want to do is you want to do hanging knee raises. And then there's going to be an interesting moment here because we'll see what happens. You want to do hanging knee raises with a dumbbell in between your legs, and you want to do them on a Roman chair. I don't even know if you guys can feel what's going on in the house right now. Dumbbells get too heavy and start hurting my ankles. Yes, because you're extending your legs because you're doing leg raises. So please do knee raises instead. They're just simply better. All right. So let's start with upper A. 3 sets of 8 to 12 incline dumbbell bench, great rep range. 3 sets of 8 to 12 dumbbell pullover, great movement, great rep range. We have an horizontal press and we have an hybrid of a vertical press, quote unquote. Then we have some incline curls, 2 sets. I like the 2 sets. Because it's a very intense movement. After this, we have the spider curl. So he's doing the 2-set method for bicep hypertrophy, which I like, but the thing too is that I wonder how much you're really going to get from this by doing spider curls in an already fatigued state. You might be better off just putting that on a different day or just doing a rotation, variation, where you do 1 week your spider curls and 1 week your incline curl. Then you do AMRAP hanging leg raises, do your knee raises as I explained, and then you do 3 sets of 10 to 15 cable lateral raise that is supersetted with the leg raises, I suppose. That's a great rep range, by the way. It's what I recommend. Then 3 sets of 4 to 10 chest supported machine row. I like that day. And you'd say you don't really care about back development. You do 2 back movements, but back can take so much volume that this is actually on the lower end of what most people will do. So that's a great upper A. I have nothing to say about that. There seems to be an emphasis on the bro muscles. Then lower A. This is what always makes me laugh. You can take, what is the saying again? You can take the powerlifter out of the powerlifting gym, but you cannot take powerlifting out of the powerlifter's heart. This guy says that he's trying to focus more on hypertrophy, and then what do I see? 3 sets of high bar squat, 2 sets of high bar squat as a drop set, as a backup set. That is simply not needed, especially since you tell me you don't care about legs. So why do I catch you doing 5 sets of high bar squats, my friend? Do 2 sets. That's all you really need. Then 3 sets of 8 to 12 seated shoulder press. Okay. Then 3 sets of 8 to 12 weighted decline sit up for the abs. Great. 3 sets of 10 to 15 finger curl, supersetted with the decline sit up. Excellent for forearms. I think it's your first forearm movement. And then 4 sets of 10 to 15 leaning overhead tricep extension. Excellent. Outside of the issue, the little hiccup of the high bar squat volume, I think that the rest of the day is also good. You're not telling me exactly the frequency. I don't know how much time separates upper A and lower A, so I cannot statuate on that. Statuate is not a verb, I just made it up. En français, on dit statuer. Another sign that French is vastly superior to English. Then upper B, 3 sets of 4 to 8 weighted pull-ups. Perfect rep range. 3 to 5 is also great. 3 sets. It's 4 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Friday. So the days are close together. That's pretty essential for me to know, because that way I can dock you if I see repeating muscles, but I don't see repeating muscles, so you're good. One could say, if we want to split air, that you're doing incline dumbbell bench, which is shoulders, then seated shoulder press, which is also shoulders back to back on different days. But as long as your performance doesn't suffer and you can recover, we're good. Okay, so then for upper B, weighted pull-ups for 2 as I said, incline dumbbell bench. You really like incline dumbbell bench, but you do it with different rep ranges. And this is where it gets interesting. A variation is not necessarily a different lift. It could be a different rep range, because that way you have a differing intensity. That's good. Then 2 sets of 8 to 12 behind the back cable incline curl. So I suppose you mean Bayesian curl, or are you saying that you're taking the station and you set it up in the cable station and then you do incline curl? I would prefer you do Bayesian curls, because that way you get another variation. Then 2 sets hammer curl. So it's interesting. Yeah, Bayesian curl. Okay, so great. See, this is great. You get to give me like live updates as you're watching the stream. This is tremendous. So you do your 2 sets, then your 2 sets. So you have a tendency, you seem to like to do this split thing where you do 2 movements for biceps and then 2 other movements that are still biceps but skewed towards something else. So the hammer curl is going to be more skewed towards brachialis and brachioradialis, but still biceps. Then 3 sets of 8 to 12 cable lateral raises. Great. If I'm not mistaken, you already do them 10 to 15. So it's the same thing here. You just change the rep range. And then you do hanging leg raises again. As I told you, knee raises. And I don't know if you caught it the first time I told you that or if I even said it. Not from a bar. Knee raises from the Roman chair. Then 4 sets 10 to 15 cable face pulls. Beautiful. And then 3 sets 8 to 12 chest supported machine row. No problem with that day. Good day as well. Lower B, 3 sets of 8 to 12 RDL. You could absolutely be doing 2 sets if you wanted because you don't put the accent on legs, as you said. 3 sets of leg extension and of leg curl. You could do 2 sets also if you wanted. Shoulder press again, weighted decline sit-up, finger curl, incline machine chest press, and tricep pull-downs. I think that your mission statement is respected. You are indeed putting the emphasis on chest, shoulders, and arms. I'm seeing that. I think you could take a step back on legs. That's just something that I think is possible. But outside of that, I don't see any problem. And you want to change the face pulls because you don't really feel it, but the chest fly machine is always being used. I would recommend, if you cannot feel face pulls, to try and do them one arm at a time because it has a tendency to really help. And that is the first review. I'm going to drink a bit of water. I caught you. I caught you farting in the chat. So I'm going to put you in timeout. You're going to jail for 10 minutes for farting in the chat. Oh, I see that someone else is farting. Someone else is farting up a storm and will also be sent to the fart dungeon. Okay. So that I already did. We have Arish Krishnan. Pretty cool name. Upper Sunday. Incline dumbbell press, 3 sets of 6 to 12. Dumbbell rows, 3 sets of 6 to 10. Perfect supersets. And this is how I write it, so of course I prefer it that way, but I like when people write supersets like this. It's very easy for me to read. Then Arnold press, which is a lift I don't like, but it's okay. 3 sets of 6 to 12, and incline hammer curl, 3 sets of 6 to 12. Beautiful. Incline hammer curls are interesting because a lot of people who do incline curls in reality do incline hammer curls because they don't stay supinated. But you know that you're doing hammer curls. Then chest press, 3 sets of 8 to 12, and upright rows, 3 sets of 8 to 15. That's very good as well. So you get, in a sense, 2 movements for the chest, one that is going to be also shoulders. And the Arnold press is a vertical press. Even though you do the whole twisty thing that some people think is chest, it's not chest, it's still shoulders. And then decline sit-ups, 3 sets of 6 to 12. That's a very good and effective upper day. And this is when you see the importance of supersets. This is why I only program with supersets. Imagine if that guy didn't superset. What do you do then? You do incline dumbbell curls, dumbbell press, and then later dumbbell rows. What is the point? You're literally just wasting time. I guarantee you that he's saving at least 50% of the time that he would spend in the gym by doing it that way. That's the point. So that was upper one on Sunday. It's interesting that he would start on a Sunday. Then on full body on Tuesday. So if I see a full body on Tuesday, it would be because there's going to be a large gap of volume because you're not going to be training for a long time. And the next day is a Thursday. So I don't know how pertinent it is to do a full body here. Let's see. Pull-ups 6 to 12. Are you doing weighted pull-ups? If you can do 6 to 12 with just body weight, you should be going up and you should be using a smaller rep range. Then tricep extension, 3 sets of 6 to 12. That's good. Leg press 6 to 12. 6 to 12 for leg press is a bit low, in my opinion, because if you think about it practically, when are you ever going to go down to 6 reps? Most likely never, because that's usually very heavy for a leg press. You never do just 6 reps. So I would bump it up to 8 or maybe even 10 and do a 10 to 15. Then concentration curls, 3 sets of 6 to 12. Okay. Because there is technically there is the incline hammer curl, but it's not really biceps. Okay. And then you are doing some reverse Nordic curls. So that's for the arm strings. So this is why. Okay. So essentially, the reason why you're doing a full body is because you want to train legs because you did not train them on Sunday, but you also want to sneak in some upper body work. All right, that makes a lot of sense. Then standing cable pullovers. I'm a notorious hater of the standing cable pullover. I think it's a gimmicky lift, but if you like it, you like it. And then farmer's walk, 3 sets AMRAP. What does AMRAP mean? I'm generally curious in the context of farmer's walk. Are you just walking until you reach the end of the earth and then you stop? Or are you just walking until your grip gives up? If that's the second option, which I suppose it is, how well do you progress on this movement? Because to me, c'est un frein. C'est un frein à la progression. It's a thing that is going to prevent progression. Upper two. Upper two on Thursday. Incline dumbbell press. Okay, 3 sets of 6 to 10. You guys seem to really like incline dumbbell press. I like it too. And incline curls. 3 sets of 8 to 12. Great rep ranges. And you walk till your grip gives out. Okay. If you can progress with it, do it. If it starts to slow down your progression, then I would suggest stating a distance that you're going to walk. That way you can really look at the weight you're using. And you can only do 9 pull-ups, so that makes a lot of sense that you're still doing that rep range in particular. All right. So here, the reason why I like this superset is for a practical reason. When you're doing dumbbell press and incline curls, you're using the same bench. The only thing that changes is that you're changing the inclination of it. So for people who say, well, you can't superset in a gym, yeah, you can. You just have to be smart about what you superset. Then tricep push-down extensions for sets of 6 to 10, a bit low. For an isolation movement, I think it's a bit too low. You can do 8 to 12, 10 to 15. Wide grip cable row, 6 to 12. That's great. Chest flies. So you really have an emphasis on chest. You train your chest pretty often, but that's good. And you seem to like to double dip because you do 2 exercises for chest every time, which is perfectly okay, as long as it's only twice a week. I think it would be a little bit too much if you did it more. Real dart fly, great for the back of the shoulder and the traps. 8 to 15, great rep range, and decline sit up, so you train your abs as well. I don't see neck isolation. Maybe you don't care about it. And then lower on Friday, hip thrusts. I'm also a bit of a hater of the hip thrust because most often times when people do hip thrusts and you look at why they do it, there is always a better option available. But if it's aligned with what you want, do it. And lateral raise, that's a great superset. Leg press, quad biased, which is dependent on the position of your feet on the pad. 3 sets of 6 to 12 and leg curl. Okay, that superset is a bit iffy. First superset where I'm like, because leg press is still going to tax your legs. So your leg curls are going to be impacted in terms of performance. Could you maybe switch it up? Let's see. Then you do wrist roller, neck curls. So you do train neck once a week on Friday. Okay, which is fine. And neck extensions. Could you see? I'm not even going to say could you. You paid me, so I'm going to give you my opinion. Here, I want to see you doing leg press and neck curls because then you can do wrist roller, leg curl, and neck extensions. And it's a double whammy because that way you won't be as tired for the leg curl and you won't be as tired for the neck extensions. This is the way you need to program supersets. Anytime you can, do not be redundant in muscles. Don't train the same muscle twice. This program is meant for a crowded college gym, so some of the supersets are kind of wacky. Well, leg press and leg curl, you're still taking 2 stations. So if you're going to be an asshole, might as well do leg press and leg curls. That way, you take only 1 station. That would be better. And your main focus is chest, as I pointed out. See, this is what happens when you have a program that's transparent. It's immediately evident what you're trying to grow. And back, which you do a lot of volume for back. And if you want to grow your back, you already know what to do. Keep improving on your pull-ups. But outside of that, honestly, that's a good program. I feel like the quality of the programs has greatly improved from the last time. I'm not accepting new programs. Do not send new programs. I will not review them this week because we barely have an hour left. And I like if you're going to pay, I want to provide you with a good review. I want to give you something worth your money. All right. Dave. Okay, bro. What am I supposed to do with this? Look at how small it is. Like, I would prefer if you could please type it, because I am not an archaeologist and I'm not going to decipher this. I also see Mesocycle at the top of the piece of paper, which is not making me hopeful. Like, if I can see it, like, what can you guys see? I'm curious to see if I click on the live stream. Yeah, like, it's not possible. I'm not going to review this today. I'm sorry. I will absolutely give you your money's worth. And if I do right click and open a new window, it's just as tiny. I will review your program next week. I'm sorry. Okay, we have Oscar Prism, who sent the program last week and I didn't review it, and I'm a man of my word. You send the program, I'm going to review it today. Here's my program. I follow a 3 upper and 2 lower split with emphasis on the back. I follow an evolving set range, an evolving rep range. So let's see if you do it properly. Upper one, dips 2 sets, AMRAP. Okay, if I see an AMRAP on dips, I suppose it's because you can do between 6 and 8 reps. You have not yet been able to complete 15 clean dips, and so you don't do them weighted. Lat pull down to the 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps. To the 4 sets as an evolving set range is doable, absolutely. You just have to understand that it really stretches the amount of time you spend using the same weight. And I hope on the stream that you understand the logic behind it. If you do only 2 sets, once the 2 sets are done and the first of the 2 sets is maxed out in terms of rep range, you go up in weight. But if you do 4 sets, especially 2 to 4 sets, it means that week 1 you do 2 sets. Whenever you manage to max out on the first set, you do 3 sets. Whenever that first set is maxed out, you do 4 sets, and only then do you go up. So it really slows down progression, and it really should be reserved to movements that need that amount of volume to go up. Don't do it just because. There's no point in accumulating volume when you could just go up in weight with less volume. Then easy bar overhead extension, 8 to 12 reps, that's great. Shrugs, 2 to 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps, that's great. Spider curls, 8 to 12 reps. Dumbbell pullovers, 10 to 12 reps. All right, so I see a compound movement for the chest, for the shoulders and the triceps. I see some lat isolation. I see some long elbow tricep isolation. I see some traps. I see some bicep isolation, more lats. The dumbbell pullovers and lat pull down could be seen as redundant, dependent on how performant you're able to stay. But so far, I don't see any glaring issue. Squats, 1 to 3 sets. Same logic, 2 to 4 sets, 1 to 3 sets, same logic. 5 to 7 reps, a bit low, but it's an intense movement. It's okay. Seated calf raises, 1 to 4 sets. Here, I would say just ditch that, because this means that you're going to spend an inordinate amount of time doing only 1 set of calves, and that's just not going to result to any growth. Stick to 3 or 4 sets. And I would say in general, just like if you do evolving set ranges, stay within 1 set. So 2 to 3, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, but don't open it that much, especially for movements that don't need it. Like most isolation movements might need it, but compounds, you're supposed to be able to go up fast on compounds. Wrist roller to the 4 sets, 3 to 10 reps. Okay, so I suppose a rep is up and down. Okay. Hyperextension, 8 to 12, great rep range, hip abduction, and then leg raises. All right. Again, leg raises, you guys, in the great book and Bible of hypertrophy, leg raises is best replaced by knee raises. Easier to load and easier to control the swaying of your own body and the stretch. So we get quads, we get calves, we get forearms, we get hamstrings, we get adductors, and we get abs. That's a great lower day outside of the set shenanigans. Upper 2, you start with a tricep push down. Why? The only reason why you would start with an isolation like this is because the entire day is isolation, and that is a second why. I see a decline chest press machine. That's a compound movement. Why is this not at the top? You want to start, if possible, with your compounds. The only moment you're going to start with an isolation is if the muscle in particular is a weak point. Did you tell me that your triceps are a weak point? I don't think so. So I would tell you start with a compound unless you have a good reason to. Then you do lateral raises, okay, side bends, real dart raises. So that's 1 movement and 2 movements, 2 isolation for the shoulders on the same day. It's okay because it's a different head, quote unquote. But the fact that you're going to do chest press machine after all of that, to me, is a mistake, like straight up a mistake. You're not respecting the pyramid of intensity. Push the press at the top of the workout, and then you can do the isolation movements on muscles that have been hit by that press, because now they're warm and you can really isolate them and perform on them. Whereas if you wait, your press is going to be impacted in terms of performance. Then single arm lat pull down, okay. And then some low rows, likewise. Why do you have these two movements so close together? Because they train essentially the same muscle group. It's okay to have two movements, especially if you only do two sets to train the same muscle groups. But if you have the chance, separate them. So right off the bat, I would tell you decline chest press to open up, then single arm lat pull down, then some lateral raises, side bends, cable lateral raises, and then some low rows. That way you also create distance between the two lateral raises. Think about it like this when you superset. So that's another day, and you do 5 days a week. It looks like a lot of volume to me, to be honest. Because if you end up at a point where you start, like, for some reason, everything clicks and it's synchronized and you do all 4 sets, like every single movement is like now 3 to 4 sets, you're going to do a shit ton of work. And I really don't see how this is justified. I think you could be doing less. So maybe look to downgrade a bit in terms of volume. Then lower day 2, RDLs 1 to 3 sets, great. Calf raises 1 to 4 sets. I told you don't do that. Wrist roller leg extension, seated leg curl. As always, lower body days are very easy to program. One heavy posterior chain, some quad work, and then you're good. I would maybe put something a bit more intense for the quads than leg extensions, maybe like some sort of split squats, I think would fit beautifully here, because that way you don't need to recruit your lower back because it's taxed by RDLs. And then on upper, and as you mentioned, all of these little asterisks are supersets, which I did not mention. But most of the supersets I saw make sense. Also, yes, most of them make sense. But some of them you could do giant sets if you wanted. And then on upper 3, overhead press, 6 to 10 reps, that's beautiful. Then behind the neck press. So you're doing like essentially the same compound movements, but back to back. You're just shitting on your own performance. That's not good. Then neck curls, preacher curls, Jefferson curls. So that's for arms. Jefferson curls are for hamstrings, right? Am I dumb, chat? I'm pretty sure that Jefferson curls are for hamstrings. Yeah. So what the fuck is this doing on an upper day? And then Kelso shrugs for traps and then dumbbell rows. That's a good day. I just don't like the 2 overhead press and the random Jefferson curl. So that's my criticism of your program, Mr. Oscar. As always with bodybuilders, you can probably do 20% to 30% less volume and get the same exact results. Okay. I already reviewed that program, so I'm going to give priority to the people that have not received a review, if you do not mind. And we have Sean, who last time sent the program too late, and I'm going to review it today. So on Monday, he does barbell bench, 3 sets of 5 to 8, superset with weighted leg raises. Again, knee raises, please. That's great. Machine seated shoulder press. So that's just typical upper day shenanigans for bodybuilders. Open with a vertical press, then horizontal press, or vice versa. Then preacher curls, 3 sets of 10 to 15. That's a bit of a high rep range, but I would recommend it for people, as I said, who are just getting started with preacher curls, just to get used to the movement. And then overhead cable triceps. So here we're dealing with someone who is the exact opposite, where you can see, just looking at it, that the days are very condensed and like they're very compact. Like he's like, if you are efficient and you're not farting around on your phone, you should be able to get that done in 45 minutes to an hour. Like you should be in and out of the gym in an hour, tops, warm-ups included. And there's no issue with that. There is no point. I know people who like derive pride from saying, I'm in the gym for 5 hours. Yeah, you're farting around for 5 hours. There's no point. Get in, then get out. Tuesday, X-bar shrugs. Why would you start your day on a shrug? Especially when I see that at the end of your day, you're doing weighted pull-ups. You're going to start with the movement that recruits the least amount of muscles and that requires the least amount of like nervous system energy. That's nonsensical. Start with the weighted pull-ups, please. 6 to 10 is a bit of a higher rep range, but okay. After that, you can do your X-bar shrugs if you wanted. 8 to 10. is a bit lower for rep range. I would go a little bit higher. Cable curls, that's a great movement, 10 to 12, nothing to say about that. Tricep, so you do a lot of triceps, and I see Monday overhead cable tricep, and here overhead vertical tricep, but that's still tricep isolation. So I think that's a mistake. You want one or the other to go and be pushed somewhere else, but you're going to already be tired. Something like a latch raise is okay because you only did one shoulder movement here, so that's fine. And it's sort of the same with biceps, honestly. There's really no point in doing bicep isolation on Monday, then Tuesday again. At least give it like 48 hours so that you really recover. So that's mistakes that you can immediately correct, and that's your money's worth already. Then Wednesday, barbell squats, 8 to 10, a bit of a high rep range, but okay. Then hack squats. So you're doing two quad isolation movements that are very similar. Then seated leg curls. I'm not a fan of that either. Unless you, for some reason, really don't like posterior chain movement, why not do a heavy posterior chain movement instead of the hack squat? And then you can do some CC squats or leg extensions. And then seated machine chest supported row. Okay. There was already pull-ups on Tuesday and nothing on Monday. So, okay, I guess you're not that fatigued. And then you just repeat that. So this is minimalism. This is extremely minimalist. And I think it's okay in terms of the volume, but in terms of the exercise selection, as I just explained, and the redundance of the frequency, I'm not a fan. And Saturday, RDL, hip thrust, split squats, and calves, that's okay. But see, the issue with that type of program is that if we take a very simple look at it, I see a number of muscles that are not trained. You don't train neck, you don't train abs. I don't see any ab isolation in there. You don't train forearms. You do calves once a week, I suppose, on Saturdays. There are issues with your program. There are muscles that get too much love with a weird frequency and others that get not enough. Get back to the drawing board. You can do better than that. The second I get back into the chat, what do I see? I see someone who says thought. And you're going to the thought prison again. Roman, who says, don't forget my program. Do not worry, I will review you. You say it was sent to the bottom? But what is your name? No, you're here. See, you're not at the bottom, you little liar. Trying to skip the line. Next one is Marco. Hello, Sierra. Recently stopped going to the gym to save money and move back to my home country next year, so I have to work out with limited equipment. Well, if it's what it takes for you to go back home, I guess we'll have to deal with that. And you carry plates to the park, which is pretty fucking cool. So we are dealing with someone who's going to do calisthenics. Let's see. And I'm going to take that into account. I'm not going to shit on the guy because he's not doing, oh, you're not doing this cable movement. Yeah, he doesn't have access to a cable. So let's look at it from that lens. Weighted dips, 3 sets, 3 to 4 sets of 6 to 10. Okay, a bit high in my opinion. I like tricep dips with that rep range, but you can stick to that if you want. Then weighted pull-ups, 3 to 4 sets of 4 to 8. So the guy tells me I want to get bigger. It's a bodybuilding program that I do in a park. The first 2 movements I'm supposed to see is a dip and a pull-up, and this is what I'm seeing. So we're dealing with someone who knows what they're doing. Then weighted sit-ups, beautiful. I have no idea how you do them in a park, but my hat's off to you. Probably in a way that is extremely uncomfortable. 3 sets, 3 or 4 sets of 8 to 12. That's great. And I suppose that this means that it's supersetted with the pull-ups. And then you do dumbbell, and then you do a giant set, which I recommend in pure isolation style with dumbbell curls. So you take your dumbbells to the park. Well, that's next level. Then French press, and then dumbbell shrug. This is like the poster child for how to do a giant set. You pick 3 muscles you want to isolate, and you just find movements that you like, that you can just like boom, go boom, 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 boom. So dumbbell curl, French press, dumbbell shrug, bicep, long of the tricep, and then traps. And for someone who trains calisthenics, a lot of the time, these guys have a big weak point in their traps because they don't do any heavy pulls. So it's good that you're including some shrugs. Day 2 is limbs. So technically, it's an arm that you're going to do at the park. Dumbbell curls, again, how much space is between day 1 and day 2? Because you're doing pull-ups and dumbbell curls already on day 1. So I hope you're giving yourself time to recover, at least 48 hours, at least. Since you're doing French press again. See, this is the issue and the limitation of doing calisthenics only for bodybuilding. Overuse injuries are a bitch because you end up repeating the same movements times and times again. See if you can find a variation. Maybe can you do like skull crushers from the floor or a GM press hybrid with a dumbbell, if that is possible? Because I can tell you for a fact that doing weighted dips and French press twice a week is going to wreck your elbows. You're going to get tendonitis up the ass. So be careful. Then lateral raise, okay, some side data isolation, which tends to lag from calisthenics, reverse lunges, and neck extension. So you're training your posterior chain, which is great for someone who does calisthenics because that's also a weak point. Calisthenic athletes tend to not have cake, which is helping them in a sense because that way they can pull more weight. Then single leg RDL, beautifully underrated movement for bodybuilding, and sissy squats. So this is someone who is still trying to get pretty big legs, which is possible with calisthenics. You just have to be willing. And then day 3, croc rows, beautiful. Again, more trap development and less lats. You're going to get already a lot of lats. With weighted push-ups, if you do calisthenics and you don't do weighted push-ups, why are you even doing calisthenics? 3 sets of 10 to 15, a bit high. I would go higher in intensity, maybe 6 to 10, maybe 4 to 8. I do my ring push-ups 4 to 8, because that way you can really push. Then hammer curls, okay, some forearm isolation, which is also lacking from calisthenics. Then tricep extensions. You train triceps a lot. If you can recover, sure, but I think it's a bit overkill. Then ab roll, neck curl, and wrist roller. This is a great program, especially considering your circumstances, Marco. I would just say I'm a bit surprised you're only doing pull-ups once a week, because I would expect at least twice a week. I know that dips tend to be a bit more taxing, but maybe if you change the grip, and that could allow you also to slash the dumbbell curls from day 2. And on day 3, you could be doing, if you wanted, some weighted chin-ups, and that way that would be more biceps. And then, of course, as I said previously, please less tricep isolation. You're doing too much. So these are pretty, it's pretty efficient. How are you guys liking this so far? For me, time is flying because I'm like in professional mode. We have Kurdistan on the chat. Hello, Kurdistan. Do you think hamstring curls are needed or are hinges enough? I think that hinges are enough, to be honest. But since leg curls are free volume, there's also no reason not to do it if you have access to it. Yeah, I think that this stream is going to be much more viewer-friendly for the people who are going to catch the publication once the stream is over. Yeah, I've yet to be... I don't know if it's even possible. My wife made stickers of my face that are pretty funny, and I want to see if I can import them to the chat for you guys to use. I haven't time to figure that out yet. No review today. If you keep sending, I'm not going to review it today. Okay. Roman, we're finally getting to you, my good friend. Ok. Oh là là, les couleurs de clown. Qu'est-ce que c'est que cette merde? Oh là 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 là. What is this? Oh my god. Just like scrolling through your program, I can tell you're doing way too much fucking volume. What is this? Are you listing every single movement in existence? See. All right, that's upper A and C. That's one day of training. What is this? Yeah, I know you're on the chat, Roman. Roman, do you have something to say for yourself? Because this is insane. I'm genuinely curious to hear how much time you spend in the gym. I would not be surprised if you spend like 3 to 4 hours in the gym. Because this is mind-blowing. Sessions are under 4 hours. Talk about a fucking euphemism. Okay, why would you say it that way? Sessions are under 4 hours, 1.30 hours. How do you cram that much volume in an hour? All supersets? Dude, you must be sprinting from station to station. Okay, well, he's telling us that he's doing all of that in an hour and 30 minutes, so let's fucking get to it. It's a nightmare. So you start with rope shortened push down and rope unilateral shortened hammer curl. And everything is in 12 to 15 and 9 to 12. And why? Who told you to do that? Did an influencer make you do it? Show me on the door where Mike Israel touched you. Because I don't like. Did you come up with this by yourself? Yeah, Israel touched you. You can speak to us. It's a safe space. Mm. Okay, we're just going to chat, you and me, and Roman. Are you progressing? Like, are you able to add weight on movements every single time you train? And how is your recovery? I'm genuinely curious to know. Yeah, everything good. So, like, every single time you come to the gym, every single one of these movements goes up in weight. That is okay. I'm generally like amazed at you. I think we need to study you for science. But okay. So I'm not going to spend a million hours. I hope you understand why. I'm going to just like glance at it, but you're doing push down. And also, you're not telling me the amount of sets. Are you doing one set for every single one? So is every single movement just one set? This No, you listed everyone individually. So how many sets do you do per movement that I'm seeing on this list? Yeah, but the issue is the colored ones are small as fuck. I can barely see them. Yeah, but you understand that I can't share the PDF. I can only share the coffee page. So if I open a PDF page, no one is going to be able to see it. That's the issue. But this is not the question here. You can just answer the question. How many sets per exercise I'm seeing on the list? Like, give me a range. You only get this type of direct interaction on this stream, guys. Like, do I have a range? Is it random? 2-3 sets per exercise. Okay, that's all I need to know. Okay. All right. So upper A and C, you do push downs. So you do triceps, hammer curls. So for forearms. Oh, wow. Okay. I don't mean to be a dick, but like I do not have the brain capacity to understand this. So if you do not mind, what we're going to be doing is that I'm going to review your program next time and I'm going to like download the PDFs beforehand because like reading this is I feel like I'm reading Chinese. Like my brain cannot go around it. So I promise there will be a review next time. But we're going to move on so that the other people can get their reviews because this one is going to take forever. Hallelujah. Look at this. Look at the difference. Do you see that maybe there's a problem with one of the two programs? All right, Skinny Claw, alternate day program goals, increase bench weight, arms and abs hypertrophy, maintain or improve everything else. Okay. Day one, barbell bench, 5 to 3. Great rep range if you want to progress, not that great for hypertrophy. Squat, 3 to 5. Pull-ups, 3 to 8. So far, this is starting strength. Then dumbbell lateral raise, 3 to 10. Okay. Sorry, that was disgusting. Then overhead tricep extension, 3 to 15. Preacher curls, 3 to 10. And machine chest fly, 3 to 8. All right. So your goal is arms and abs hypertrophy. I'm seeing some tricep extension. I'm seeing some preacher curls. I'm seeing some lateral raise, the upper portion of the arm, the shoulder. Okay. For now, I don't see any issue. You do chest fly and some cable crunch for the abs. And then day 2, barbell bench. So barbell bench, again, unsurprising, you're trying to grow your bench. I'm not a strength coach. I don't know shit about strength. I would tell you that you will eventually run into a plateau. You will eventually run into shoulder issues if you keep doing the same type of bench. Maybe include a variation. Maybe an incline bench, a decline bench, a dumbbell bench. But don't just spam bench, even though you're changing the rep range. Then deadlift, 3 by 5, not the worst rep range for someone who deadlifts. Keep in mind that deadlift is not the best for hypertrophy. Then cable rows, cable lateral raises. So this is like a blast from the past because this is what every single training program was 10 years ago. Then GM press. Okay, you're doing GM presses, 3 to 10. Incline curls again. Here you did preacher curls. Okay. I think the two go really well together. If you want, if someone told me, give me 2 bicep movements, I'd say preacher curls and incline curls. And then dumbbell fly again. So you're doing machine chest fly. So you really like your flies, apparently. And then sit-ups. And you say, I know it's not a lot of chest volume. I replace them with shoulder press or legs when I reach my short-term goals. Should I add forearm work? Well, that's a question for you to answer. Do you want bigger forearms? If the answer is yes, yes, please do more forearm work. If not, don't do it. I would tell you to add a permanent vertical press in this because you're going to run into shoulder issues eventually. I would also tell you to add some face pulls if possible to train the back of the shoulders because you're going to end with kyphotic posture because you're only training the front portion of the shoulder, save for dumbbell lateral raises, which also are famous for creating shoulder issues. So this is my advice for you. Incorporate vertical presses and incorporate bench variation. Outside of that, if you only train twice a week, I think that your frequency and your volume is fine. It's true that it's not that much, but if you're progressing and you're meeting your goals, there's nothing wrong with that. If one day you want to move to an hypertrophy program, because this is not an hypertrophy program, this is a strength program with some hypertrophy in it, then you can jump on one of the free ones I have on my channel. Okay. I'm going to take a small break and drink some water. Ooh la la. Oh. It's actually much easier for me to review the programs. I don't know why, psychologically, knowing that you guys have an eye on it, because that way I can really like focus on it and my spirit is not like split between thinking, oh, like they see nothing and it's boring for them. Great. I really like that. I really like that format. I think it's much more conducive to being a good educator. All right. So we have Yusa. I bought into 2 times a week full body like Alex Leonidas. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good split. I want an overall good physique with more emphasis on upper body. My legs are a strong point and I barely train them. Excellent. This is what you want in reality. If you have a strong point, that gives you more space to train other things that are more interesting. You struggle with volume and you want to add more for triceps. Welcome to the club. You will oftentimes find that if you neglect an area of your body for a long time, once you go back to training it, once you start training it in reality, its work capacity is going to be shit and your recovery is going to be shit and you're going to struggle because the second you do too much volume, you're going to end up sore for a week. Your triceps are stubborn. They're not stubborn. You just don't train them. It's important to use vocabulary that makes sense and that puts us at the center of our personal responsibility. Okay, and you see that everything grows except them. Maybe you haven't found yet the movement that really connects with them. That's a possibility. And you do the same workout twice a week. Since you find it more enjoyable, you hate supersets, get out. Banned. 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 I'm not reviewing your program. Banned. Bannez-moi ça les modos là. Ça dégage. Ça dégage. Banned. Banned. Psst, 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 psst. Get. Psst. C'est les bruits que les Français font ça pour faire partir les animaux. Psst, psst. All right. I hate supersets, but can't deny how good they are. Oh, okay. So you accept your fault. It's fine. I bar squats, 2 sets of 3 or 5. Okay. It's always funny. People are like, I don't train legs. Like I barely train them. First exercise, high bar squat. Okay. So you're taking like a high stake, high technical movement. You could be doing leg press or split squats, but okay. If you like them, you like them. Reverse Nordic curls negative. So riddle me this. You don't care about legs and they're not a priority. And the first 2 movements I see on your Wednesday are lower body movements. Where is the logic in this? I understand that when you do a full body, if you keep your lower body movements when you do a full body, if you keep the lower body movement for the ends of the day, you're going to be tired and less performant. But you don't give a fuck about that. These movements should be at the end of your training, and the bench press should be at the start. Bench press and dumbbell rows should be at the start, and you do weighted dips. Weighted dips and bench press are redundant. Why are they both on the same day? Pick one and the other and do a rotation, and then add a variation, something like a chest fly, that is going to be less taxing for the overall structure and for the shoulders, because bench press and dips tax the shoulders. So pick one. Then pull-ups, 2 sets of 10 to 15, and face pulls. All right, so this is a very interesting upper body day, because this is a very interesting full body day, because it's clearly more skewed towards the upper body, which is what you want. So I like it, but I notice an issue. Do you guys notice the issue? What is the issue of that day? I like to get you guys involved by asking questions to see if you're still awake. Arms. You know, there's the song Boys, Boys, Boys. I'm going to make a remix by Natural Hypertrophy called Arms, Arms, Arms. I don't see any isolation here. And sure, you're going to do isolation. Oh, wait. That's the same day? What is going on here? Oh, that's the same day. Okay. So both your Wednesday and Saturday are the exact same days. And because you find it more enjoyable, I understand you find it more enjoyable, but from a purely programming perspective, it's just straight up bad. And anyone who does full body twice a week will tell you that. Alex will tell you that. He has variations and rotations to prevent overuse injuries. It's integral that you do so. I understand you like these movements, but every single one of the movements listed here has a variation. I can do it on the fly for you. High bar squat, hack squats, reverse Nordic curls negatives, GHR, bench press, dumbbell press, dumbbell rows, croc rows, or you can do some like cable rows. Weighted dips, you can do the dip machine station. Pull-ups, a different variation of pull-ups. Face pulls, you can do unilateral face pull. Shoulder press, you can do Smith press. Superset with bicep curls, cable curls. French press, skull crushes. Reverse forearm curls, you can do something like a pronation twist. Cable overhead extension, you can do something like a across the body extension or a katana extension. Cable hammer curl, dumbbell hammer curl. See, it took me 15 seconds. You can easily find variations. But let's get back to it. So you do shoulder press, 3 sets of 8 to 12. So you did bench press, weighted dips, face pulls, dead, and then shoulder press. So your shoulders are like, they're begging for mercy at this point. Superset with bicep curl. It's your first bicep exercise, but it's also the last. Then French press. Okay, so bicep tricep isolation at the end, that makes sense. Superset with reverse forearm curl. Okay, cable overhead extension, you've already done French press. I think that's overkill. This is my issue with full body workouts. Oftentimes, people try to cram as much volume as possible in it. That's not the way it's supposed to work. Look at the way Alex programs. He doesn't do that much volume. He banks on intensity. And then you superset with hammer curls, but you've already done reverse forearm curls. So there is a fundamental issue with your program in that you start with the wrong exercises. Some of them are redundant. You're doing too much volume and you're doing it twice a week. And you say, Dad and H, please don't call Alex. I swear I will behave. I've already contacted Alex. You are fucked. He will be knocking at your door any second. That is my review of your program. You have a lot of things to change. You can get away with that right now, but I guarantee you that soon enough, you're going to pay the price. And then we have Shakil. I enjoy lifting and want to continue growing. You sent it at 4:22, you little shit. I told you guys that it was closed. The poll is closed. I enjoy lifting and want to continue growing, but I also do boxing 2 times and judo 1 time a week, so I can't maximize volume. Makes sense. Boxing and conditioning has a lot of push-ups involved, not enough to grow, but excessive chest shoulders has me struggling to box. I understand perfectly. When you have to keep your guard up and your shoulders are burning, it's not fun. Day 1 squat 4 to 8, bench press 4 to 8. As a boxer, I hate to say it, but bench press is not functional for you. You should be doing something else. I understand that you do already a shit ton of push-ups in training, but what about like ring push-ups? What about deficit push-ups? What about dips? Then chin-ups, okay, chin-ups are great, but why 2 sets of 10 to 15? I mean, high rep ranges for chin-ups make sense, and maybe you're more into this for conditioning, so okay. Then face pulls are going to be very important for you because boxers tend to have this kyphotic posture going on. You really want things that are going to open up the shoulders and pull on these straps. Face pulls are great. And then abs. Okay, abs is not an exercise, but sure. Then day 2 barbell row, 3 sets of 6 to 10. Barbell row for athletes, good. Because the instability that I shit on for hypertrophy actually helps in this case. It helps you stabilize your trunk, use your hamstrings to stabilize, etc. Then overhead press, 3 sets of 4 to 8. Okay, so you said you don't want to train shoulders too much, but you have overhead press. You could balance it out with what you just told me. Then lunge also a great functional exercise for athletes. Much better than split squats because you never do a split squat in training or when you fight because you're just going up and down. So lunges are better. Then incline curls for pure mass and overhead extension. And then deadlift. Okay. I would recommend trap bar deadlift for you. It's a much more natural position, or maybe like behind the neck, not behind the neck, behind the neck deadlift. Can you imagine? A between the leg deadlift also makes a lot more sense. Single leg RDRs also make a lot more sense. Chin ups weighted, chin ups. It's for people who are Chinese only. Chin ups weighted, 3 sets of 6 to 10. So you do chin ups twice a week. Keep an eye on your bicep tendons because you do incline curls too. So you really want to keep an eye on these bicep tendons. Then incline dumbbell bench, lateral raise, and leg raises. See, you guys, when I tell you that to be an athlete is to know how to create a minimalized program, it's exactly what I mean. The programs are nice, short, very little volume, but they're going to give the guy a lot of results that are going to carry over to the sport and give him a better physique. So outside of the things that I criticized, I think that this makes a lot of sense. And he says that neck training is at home on rest days. He's a boxer. He better train his fucking neck if he doesn't want to end up all shaky by the age of 45. And I think that that is it. No problem, my good friend. And that was Quack? How did you do that? Your name was Shakil and now you became Quack? Wow. Metamorphosis. It's magic. All right. Hey, guys, his name is Shakil and he's magic. He's Magic Chuck. Okay, never mind. Up. And that was it. That was the last program for the day. If you sent your program afterwards or I did not review it, I will review it next Hypertrophy Q&A because we have 15 minutes left and I would like to connect with the chat a bit. So ask all of your questions. NH, will we get a workout stream? Well, the issue is that I train in the basement that's downstairs. So I have the connection, the internet connection for a stream. But the issue is that the sound would be horrible because it's a basement. There's all the machinery and bullshit. And I blast music when I train. So I'm not saying no, but I would have to figure it out. NH is adding junk food a good strat if you have trouble bulking. It's a good strat. Yes. It's not good for your health, but adding a pizza, adding a gallon of milk here and there, if you're really skinny, can help. Xo Almo. Shinshin, I already answered your question, my friend. Maybe you missed it. The stream is over in 15 minutes. It goes fast. But I saw a very interesting question. Xoalmo who asked, NH, how much are you progressing at an advanced level? I'm progressing at a pace that is ridiculous and that most influencers tell you is not possible because they like to be all gloom and doom about, oh, natural limit, boo boo, you stop progressing, boo boo boo. They stop progressing because they stop putting in effort and that's it. When I see how hectic my life is, how much I work, and the fact that I still progress, I started doing weighted dips a year ago, give or take. I'm now doing weighted dips with 4 extra plates. I add 5 pounds per session. I've been adding 5 pounds per session for a year. I'm not special. I'm not a magical creature. It's literally just good programming. And actually, I've come to the realization that when progression stops to a crawl, it's oftentimes the sign that you have poor recovery, you don't train hard enough, your programming sucks balls, or the lift is just bad. Because when I see how not fast at all I used to progress on overhead press and how consistently I progress on AD press on the Smith, I realized, oh, it was because the variation that I used to use, the straight barbell overhead press, was just not in line with what I needed for hypertrophy. If you missed the stream, by the way, of course, it's going to be re-uploaded the second the stream ends. We had underground ore. Should I expect to progress slower as a taller person? No, you will not progress slower. Your strength progression will be, if anything, faster. But your visual results are going to be slower because you have so much more real estate to fill out. So you have to be patient. What takes a short person 2 years to achieve will take you 4 to 5. But if you're patient and you put in the work, you're going to look like a beast. Like, I'm no monster myself, but I'm 6 feet 220. I'm just so much bigger than everyone else in the gym. And I'm so much bigger than the average person just by virtue of me being tall. If you're 6 feet and above, you have so much potential for size, it's unreal. Not necessarily for bodybuilding, granted, or for aesthetics, but for sheer size. Yep. Nerd of the season, Weebani, what a name. Could you do incline dumbbell bench and shoulder press for vertical pushes, or are they too similar? I think they're too similar, to be honest. Whenever, it really depends on the incline, because a lot of people do their incline dumbbell bench with like that super high incline where the bench is like this. That's too high. In my opinion, go here, and then you can do a vertical press afterwards. You add 5 pounds every week. Yes, on dips, 5 pounds every week. What would be your strategy to resume lifting after 6 months off, not due to injury? Come back and do 1 to 2 sets with sub maximal loads and allow muscle memory to do its thing. And don't push. Don't try to do as much as you can as fast as you can. That's a waste of time. You're going to get hurt. What rep range do you do for BSS? What is BSS, please? If you use a shortening, you have to tell me what you're saying. What is your rep range on dips? 3 to 5. 3 to 5. So any session where I don't add weight is a session where I add reps. So I always progress. Bulgarian split squats. What is my rep range for Bulgarian split squats? I use 8 to 12. Always 8 to 12. It's my favorite. Pronation or supination for barbell rows? Pronation. Yes, supination, you recruit more biceps, blah, blah, blah. It's too much of a risk, in my opinion. 56 weeks would be 280 pounds. So as I just explained, evolving rep range means that every time I hit dips, either I add weight or I add reps. Sorry, I miss, what is the term? I mis-explained myself. I'm not adding weight every time I do dips. I progress every time I do dips. And I add weights usually every 2 weeks. How did you grow your forearms? Forearms, right there. Yeah, pretty big. As a guy with tiny wrists, I did something incredible. I trained them. I stopped listening to all of the guys who told me, oh, if you have a baby, if you have a small wrist, you'll never get big forearms. Look at this. Do you see that like sweep here? That's 100% of people that can achieve that. Small wrist, big wrist, it doesn't fucking matter. It's a muscle. Train it, it's going to grow. What do you think about lifting for people with scoliosis? I have scoliosis and I lift. It depends on the degree and if your doctor is trying to discourage you or not. What is your opinion on 2 sets per exercise? It's good. Someone told me that they sent me a message. They sent me a message on coffee. Okay. We have Walid who says, not a question, just a thank you. Merci pour tout ce que tu partages. Who gave me $10 just to be nice. Walid, you are way too nice. And I also want to extend a great thank you for all of the people who are still pledging a membership. If you used to pledge and you deleted the pledge, I perfectly understand it because I'm not making videos, I'm just making these streams. The deal was you support me and I give you content. So I can only give my full appreciation for people who are still, in a sense, trusting me that I will eventually come back. I will come back. But if you don't want to support me when I'm not doing shit, I get it. It makes a lot of sense. Way too vicious. How do you recover from a back pull from squats or deadlifts? What is your go-to rehab step? One, I've never really hurt myself on these movements. My go-to would be slowly reintroduce movements that target the area. So, for example, with hyperextensions, and really be active. Be active. Do not let yourself rot on the couch because your injury is just going to become worse. It's going to become chronic. Okay. I have a message from Kevin who says, I am Kevin in all caps. It felt, okay, so he's telling me it felt like a minor tear and there was some swelling, but after about a week, it isn't feeling, so you're saying, okay, you're really taking my memory for granted here. So this is the guy who told me that he had a pec strain an hour and 30 minutes ago. He says, felt a very minor tear and there was some swelling, but after about a week, it isn't feeling as strange, but I don't trust using it for at least not a few days. And you injured it doing 3-plate bench, and it's not a flex. Of course, it's not a flex. You hurt your chest muscles to reach an arbitrary fucking movement and milestone that no one cares about. My main forearms was cheat curls and close grip. Okay, so essentially you fucked up your chest because you tried to push too much, or because your form was not there, or your recovery was not there, whatever. I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you one thing. If you felt a strain, something is strained, believe it or not. So you're going to have to rehab, and you're going to have to figure it out. Someone asked, if we subscribe to coffee, can we get program reviews? If you pledge, yes. The people who get program reviews are either the people who send a coffee for $5 because that way you get access to my messages, or the people who pledge. If you pledge, you can ask me questions whenever you want. I answer questions. That's part of the deal, in a sense. And do we have other questions? No, that's it for the coffee questions. So that's perfect. We can wrap up with roughly 5 minutes. Best compound exercises for people with long limbs. Best compound exercise. That's way too vague. Like, are you talking lower body, upper body? LONH. Is it mandatory to work out almost every day the further you go? I want to get capped at 4 days. No, it's not. Essentially, frequency is a tool because it opens up windows for volume. That's pretty much that. It is, if I wanted to train 4 times a week, I would. I used to train 7 days a week, then I went down to 6, and now I'm doing only 5, but I'm still progressing because there is no point in your lifting career where you have to train 7 days a week or 6 days a week, or else you stop. I think, in my opinion, I think that the bare minimum for people who are intermediate to advanced is 3 days. I mean, for me, 2 days a week is pushing it. Some advanced lifters manage to make gains off of 2 days a week, but I'd say at least 3 days. 4 days is my favorite because I think it's more balanced, but 4 days is perfect. You can train for 4 days a week for as long as you live. And yes, the reviews are over. And I don't know if we're going to do a program review again next time. It might be a physique review. I'll let you guys know. What is your volume on dips per week? I do 2 to 3 sets of 3 to 5 reps. That's it. Not more, not less. I don't do back off sets or anything. I do my 2 to 3 intense sets, and that's it. Do you think people should bodyweight calisthenics, like reaching 20 pull-ups or 30 dips? My standard personally before you start doing weighted calisthenics is 10 clean pull-ups, 15 clean dips. And then you can start loading with 5 pounds, 10 pounds, etc. John Murray says, thanks, training 2 days a week sounds like a 2 days a week sounds like a hellishly exhausting 3-hour long session. Yes. Yes. My take for training is, if I'm tired, I'm going home. And so I program in a way that I make sure that I'm always at least a little bit still energetic at the end of my session. Because to me, that shows that I'm doing things properly. Just sent a message on coffee. Ah bon? C'est vrai ce mensonge? There is no new message on coffee, my good friend. If you mean private message, that's a different beast. But we're done with program reviews and private message for now. Can you show some tips on how to do power raise? Yes. Play with the incline of the bench. Some people like me like to have it like more horizontal. Some people like it more vertical. Start with very low weight and controlled movements. You can start adding body English afterwards, but you don't want to start with body English because there is a risk of injury. NH, I have a problem where my right hand rotates more inwards in comparison to my left hand. So your right hand has a tendency to pronate, which usually means that your brachioradialis is strong. This causes me to feel right pec more on the right side and more tricep on the left. Oh, you're talking about presses. Well, this in that case would be more of a shoulder issue, in my opinion. You have to consciously correct it. Lovely cup of tea. I appreciate you sending follow-up messages. It will be between you and me. I'll send you direct messages, but I can't go back and re-review programs on the stream. Everyone has to have the opportunity. NH, please compete in Mr. Olympia. Why? Do they need a turkey on stage? I could be on stage and so that they could be like, here is the comparison between someone who is natural and someone who is juicing. Look at the guy who's natural. He is fat. We don't want that. Soif. Très soif. Baz, do you train your obliques directly? Yes. I do dumbbell twists and I do suitcase deadlifts. Singing bass, do you think, and singing bass, you have a profile picture from a character that I recognize. Do you think in general full body 3 times a week can grant results? Absolutely. I think it's one of the best templates out there. Will you ever actually compete? Yes. Because there will be a time in my future where I will no longer be able to sustain that mass and the efforts it takes. And on that day, I will cut and I'll go down to like 190, 180, and I'll compete. But it's not for now. I'm enjoying hypertrophy training way too much. Was my program your favorite of the day? Well, it was something. No one has beat Lovely Cup of Tea so far. It's just the names of these movements are going to haunt me forever. Is muscle memory a thing? It is a thing. It is. You lose muscle relatively slowly as a natural, but you regain them very quickly. Yeah, it's a character from Monster. I watched it. Steve, is the option to send a message longer than 400 characters opened after a $5 coffee? Apparently. I know that I have had people who are able to send me messages after just one coffee, but maybe it's $5. So Neraj, when you go to failure, your hand rotates. It might be just muscle fatigue also. Marek Mix. Is it not sinful to do a 3-day program, push and pull legs, push legs? Where is your 3 days here? Oh, you mean like push, pull legs, push legs. Ah, I see what you mean. Well, the issue is that how much frequency? Because you do push and pull and legs, and then push and legs. You see, the things, they touch each other. It's the issue with push, pull legs. How to remedy muscle imbalance in serratus? Maybe some unilateral pullover. What ways do you think your programming approach has changed over the past 3-4 years? Less volume, less frequency, more of an accent on intensity, and I've also revamped my what is the term? My exercise selection, and I also don't program nucleus overload anymore. Your ab genetics are insane. I'm jolly. It's one of the things that I have going on for me. I don't store a lot of fat in my abs, and on top of that, they're symmetrical. What federation would you compete? I have no idea. Why you stopped using pop filter? Well, that guy, you're like a year too late for this. I stopped because it was useless. It wasn't actually doing anything. All right. Well, it's 3 hours in, my good friends. So we're going to call it for the day. Thank you very much for being here. I started the stream in a terrible mood, and I feel now much better. So I appreciate every single one of you for the interaction, for giving me a chance to be useful and to help you guys. It really means a lot to me because that's the reason why I'm alive. So thank you. We are going to be doing a self-improvement stream next Saturday. So all of your questions for next Saturday will be based on that. You'll wait to ask them. And that is that. I'm not going to tell you there will be a video or not. I have a big appointment on Monday that is going to decide my future pretty much. So I'm shitting bricks, but I will do my absolute best. Je vous fais plein de petits bisous, pas des gros bisous aujourd'hui, et bonne soirée. Mouah.